address that fact that you said, winning both Elite Cups on the same exact day on NA East and EU. Right now, this lobby is 75% EU plus NA East, which means that they have proven already that they can pretty much beat 75% of this lobby. The confidence has to be through the roof.
You know, I feel we can't not mention them, Vivid. A duo that I think many people are very excited to see compete here in person. It's Bugha and it's Miro.
Representing the home region here, NA East, representing Sentinels, representing Dignitas, in my opinion, the most titled duo here at the event. Let's talk about it. Bugha, solo World Cup champion. Wow. It's what he is known for. But because that is such a huge accomplishment, it almost always gets pushed under the rug that right now, in the past 5 FNCSs, he's gotten top 3 in every single one of them, with 3 of them being wins. But that's not all. Those 3 wins, back to back to back.
It's an absolutely disgusting stat line when you really think about it. And he's not the only one. You have to keep in mind his duo partner, Miro. He has also been the NA East individual leader for eliminations for 3 out of the last 6 FNCS finals. That statistic alone showcases the fact that I think this NA East duo is certainly going to pack a pretty vicious punch for the rest of these regions.
That's right, and we have a very special treat for you fans here, and of course, viewers at home. Guess what? Kelly Link is standing by with Bugha and Miro.
Thank you so much, Zeke. Joining me right here, I got Miro and Bugha for a quick interview. Bugha, it's been 3 long years since your iconic World Cup win. What is it like to finally be back on stage in front of all of these people playing?
I'm super excited. I mean, it's super cool to be back in in-person events, and hope they bring more in the future, of course, but yeah, just hoping for the best, honestly.
Yeah, of course. And Miro, talking about the game, of course, you guys are not only uncontested, but it also seems like
he's a part of that
too many teams around you on the south side. What are your plans to handle Storm Surge?
I mean, as of right now, we're uncontested. We'll see what happens. We're gonna try not to leak too many strats, but I think we'll be okay.
I love it. The confidence coming in from these 2 guys right here. Make some noise for Bugha and Miro, and let's head on back to the desk.
That's right. Fans, you guys can make some noise. That's okay. You want to be cheering on this duo, right? They got me. They got me. They're still waking up. It's all good. Now, we have to talk about more of the duos we're going to be seeing compete today. Is there another maybe duo that you have eyes on right now?
That's a lot of people.
That's the beautiful part about the FNCS Invitational.
Peter Boss
with
Jamper.
Have that international representation. And Alex and Bailey are a must-mention from Oceania because they have had an absolutely phenomenal Chapter 3 performance so far. They've only been getting better with each season of Chapter 3. They started out with 3rd place in Season 1, then 2nd place Season 2. So guess what Season 1 was? That's right. They were the FNCS champions of the most recent season coming into this FNCS Invitational. And their dedication to the grind did not stop there either because they have been absolutely dominating in Cash Cup performances as well. Alex even, I believe, tweeting at one point, 10 first place finishes in those Cash Cups alone. So the consistency is definitely there for this duo.
And the thing that I love is the confidence, right? Right here alone, Bailey's name in game, Bailey on height. Man, I wonder how he's going to be playing today, going for the higher gun. Honestly, listen, the great thing about being here in person is that I am actually able to go into the practice room, kind of stand behind some of these players. And last night I did just that with Alex and Bailey, and they won the scrim game that I was watching, and they just look so good. Alex's aim, holy moly.
We have to talk about another threat here in the competition. A 6-time FNCS champion coming from NA West, Epic Whale, and he's going to be paired up with
2 drops.
If you've watched FNCS broadcasts, you know these guys are literal sharks.
Yeah, the 6X, the only one in the world, the individual player who has the most FNCS wins right there. It is none other than Epic Whale. But it doesn't just stop there. 3rd place at World Cup, and then of course winning the most recent international event as well. He is on an absolute tear right now, and he always looks so good. But the thing that I love about Epic Whale is that he is able to adapt to almost any situation. So much so that one season he even transitioned to controller. Of course, now he is back on that keyboard keyboard and mouse, but showing that he is so versatile is what is important to me.
My favorite part about this duo as well is that collectively they have 8 FNCS championship titles to their name, which actually ties them for first place with Bugha and Miro of all duos. So this could be an excellent opportunity here for Epic Well and Reed to establish once and for all who really has the most championship titles to their name.
You love to see it. Now, listen, fans in the audience, I need you guys to make some noise because Kelly is standing by right now with Epic Whale and Reed.
Thank you once again, Zeke, and you are right. I have
they're in
Epic Whale
TSM.
and Reed joining me for
Okay.
another quick interview. Epic Well, everyone knows that the 6X in your name stands for how many FNCS titles you currently hold. What has the preparation been
Epic
like
Well?
so that you turn that into 7X?
Yeah, just a lot of
that's
VOD
Epic
viewing
Well?
with our coach.
Oh,
and,
okay.
like watching our own games back, watching other players from other regions, and just always improving like from the Elite Cups and stuff.
Right, I love it. And Reed, you're known to be aggressive from time to time. Are we going to be seeing that classic Reed aggression today?
Yeah, we're going for 20 bombs every game.
Love it. That's what I want to see. I'm going to hold you to that 20 bomb, everyone. Let's head on back to the desk.
Reed, you can't keep saying that, man. I'm looking for a 20 bomb. We'll see how that all unfolds. Well, that's just a sneak peek of some of the competitors. Let's see how others feel about the competition.
Anything could happen, like it's a tight matchup, they're both really good teams.
A lot of people think they're one of NA's best teams. I think they're pretty down here, actually.
We're going to get out there and go in and clean it up every game. This is going to be crazy.
So at Cloudy Condos, we got Aqua, Reason, we have Merstash Malabuka, and then we have Tayson and Chapix. So obviously those 3 teams are like a lot of people's favorites to win it.
Cloudy Condos is pretty highly contested. I mean, it's edge map, you know, easy dead side rotates. The loot's pretty strong. Definitely Aqua or Reason are going to take at least one game, you know. They're high ground kings.
It really depends on like who is gonna like land on the one side alone and third way the other team.
We've heard some rumors that Merstash and Malibuka are contesting us. We don't know if it's true, but if it is, we're ready. Just come. I think Malibuka and Merstash are kind of playing like the third man out, and it's mainly Tayson and Chapix fighting. Malibuka and Merstash are insane fighters. It's gonna be a very fun contest.
At Genesis, we have Pink and Anas versus Clicks and Dukes. I think there's not enough loot for 2 teams, so I think they're definitely going to fight each other.
I think Pink and Anas will come out on top most games.
If it comes down to like a just straight up 2v2 fight where they both have loot, I think Clicks and like, because obviously Clicks and Dukes, they're definitely better
good
fighters.
fighters.
They're way better fighters than Pink.
I don't know about way better.
They're way better fighters than Pink and
Maybe a
Anas.
little better. Although I think Pink is gonna come out on top, we're gonna see if Clicks is able to surprise us. With Joneses, if you want to have good loot, you really have to win it, so you have to be prepared to beat your opponent.
There's like 2 sides of Joneses.
They will split.
Yeah, they might split it.
I think if we fight Anas or Clicks, we're not gonna do good in Joneses. They can come to Greasy, that's fine, but not like Joneses, not good.
Then over at Groom Gables, we have Muzz and Looter conning Smite and Larson. In this fight, it's interesting. I think obviously since there's the hill and then there's also just down below, I don't think there's any world where these 2 teams fight unless it's like in the last game, as both of them needing points, you know?
I don't know if the hill's enough loot.
I'm not glad Mountain's plenty of loot. People do that, they do that all the time.
I don't know, maybe. If they wanna come out on top and do well in the tournament, I think that they have to like not take the fight, but try to gain ground because it has really good, strong points around it. I've played with Looter before, and he's crazy. I honestly think it could be a 50-50. The POI is kind of just like one house.
Yeah, who knows? We'll see.
Dude, I'm gonna lose my mind. We're almost there. Now, we've had a chance to kind of talk about the outside looking in. Let's actually talk about the game itself.
Yeah.
We have to talk about some of these POIs, man, because it's looking like it's gonna be messy.
There's going to be a lot of action going on in the early game, and here's where you can find most of them. Of course, Grim Gable is going to be contested. Tilted Towers, I don't know what's going on over there. A whole party. Looks like 5 duos are wanting to fight for that, but then Cloudy Condos, here we go. 3 duos landing there. Taco, all of them being EU.
And not just any EU duos. You're looking at Tayson and Chapix, Aqua and Reason, as well as Murstache and Malabuka. Three European duos that could arguably walk away here, either champions of this FNCS Invitational or in the top 5 at the very least. But the fact that they're all contesting each other is the most incredible aspect here, Vivid, especially when you factor in that you've got Tayson and Chapix who love playing the high ground, going up against the original high ground king of EU with Aqua.
Yeah, I mean, listen, there's pretty much 2 ways that this kind of POA can work out, right? They can kind of split their loot and be happy with it, but that's not really advantageous, right? There's
Jeez,
so
that
much
went
loot
far.
that you want for yourself. Now let's talk about the other option, which actually happened in the Elite Cup just a week ago, where Malabuka and Murstache got 2nd place from this exact same situation. Basically, what was going down was Tayson and Chapix were basically just straight up 50-50 in Aqua and Reason on the south side, and then Malabuka and Murstache were just running right in afterwards,
face cam at the corner,
and walked away again.
just so you guys can see everything.
And you know what's coming now,
like
right?
in this corner.
That's right. It's an interview, but this time we've got our in-game analyst, Mini Miner, standing by. Take it away.
Thank you so much, Zeke. Now, I couldn't be more excited to be alongside 2 titans of the European region. We've got Tayson and Malabuka alongside me here. This is exciting. Tayson, to kick things off, you are one of the online GOATs. You are considered as one of the best players online. How can you transfer that into this in-person experience today?
I think it's really important to get used to it for the next LAN events. Online is not as, LAN is not as comfortable as home, of course, but need to get used to it to prepare for next and do our best.
Of course. Now, Malabuka, you guys are known as one of the best fighters in the European region. Are you guys confident in fighting off spawn against the likes of Tayson and Chapix?
Yes, I think we have a very aggressive playstyle, and that's why it's very easy for us to eliminate other players. And I don't think off-spawn will be hard for us.
Of course, and it works as well. You guys have a 78% success rate off spawn. Does that fill you with more confidence going into it, or do you think like this is going to be a tough fight?
I'm sure we will have 12 games. We will go out from our off-spawn, and we won't die even once.
That's good to hear. Now, Zeke, I want to hear more about the next head-to-head.
Man, these players are stone cold eliminators, baby. I am ready for all of this action. Let's talk about another duo, another head-to-head matchup we have to break down. I think for me, the key kind of takeaway and thing to consider is there's 7 regions being represented here on this invitational stage, right? So not only am I thinking, what's my meta at home? Wait, what's their meta at home? Oh, I have to fight against that? Good luck me.
Yeah, over at Green Gables, a little bit of a different situation than Cloudy Condos or Tilted Towers, given that it's just a head-to-head standoff between Smite, Larson, and Muzz with Looter, but I really am curious to see how this actually pans out, because we are getting a little bit of that international region spice, battle of the regions there with NA East and Oshi. But to be fair to Muzz, he has actually been in NA East along with Looter.
Oh, a guy in powers in this. Oh, shit.
Trying to get as much experience as possible. I think it's going to be a really exciting matchup for them. And when you factor in that Muzz most recently, with the Chapter 3 Season 2 top 10 finish, came in 8th place, I believe, although at the time he was doing with Avery, not to mention his partner Looter while he was competing in Oceania, he still nearly closed out a match point trigger with a 518-point finish there in Season 2 as well for Chapter 3.
And then, of course, Muzz being the only player actually to win an FNCS on multiple regions. He did it on OCE and NA East as well. But that's not to talk down on Larson and Smite. They do so well in these all-spawn situations. They come up with such unique strategies. Throwback to Season 1 of Chapter 3, where even the likes of Cold and Sentin were having trouble against them because of the strategies they were coming up with. So that's what I'm excited to look forward to today. What did they prepare for Muzz and Looter?
Caliber player is just absolutely insane. For just a moment, I do want to touch on that Tilted Tower situation. Why do we have 5 duos all landing at Tilted Towers?
But one of them is Fabs and Snacky. And one of my favorite parts about this is that throughout the entirety of Chapter 3, there were 36 finals games played, right? Okay. Fabs and Snacky only went 2 out of those 36 games without receiving any actual elims. So with 4 other duos there to contest at Tilted Towers, it's not just a prime opportunity for them to
big guy
keep boosting
dressed in the
that stat
green?
metric, but it also kind of indicates the fact that whether or not they're the ones walking away from Tilted Towers by the end of it all, they're taking somebody else with them.
So absolutely insane. Now, guess what? Another interview coming your way. Mini Miner, what you got?
I've got two incredible players right next to me. We've got Luther, we've got Smite, and oh boy, am I excited yet again, as always. Now, Luther, I'll kick things off with you. You've played on both OCE and NA East, right? How do the regions differ, and how are you going to use that experience today?
Well, there is a big difference, that's for sure. I definitely think OCE
that's
is obviously
Luther?
easier,
Damn.
and NA has a different skill set, but I made sure to come a month early so I could learn the lobbies as much as I could to do as good as I can over these next 2 days.
Yo, LB, what's good? LB, what is this? This is FNCS Invitational. It's just like the World Cup in 2019 when Booga won it, but this is different. This is FNCS. It's being taken place in North Carolina right now, where the Epic Games headquarters around there is located.
Quickly, we'll ask you guys, what do you think the score's going to be off spawn? The all-important question.
Okay, realistically, I want a 12-0, nice and clean, but I don't think that's going to happen. That's unrealistic. I think it's going to be more like 8-4, 9-3, something like that.
Okay, Smite, just quickly.
I'm thinking a full 12-0 right here.
12-0. They both think they're going to win off spawn. Unbelievable. Best of luck to you both, though.
Thank you so much, Mini Miner. My goodness. We've had a chance to hear from some of the players, talk about the game. I want to just take a quick moment here to introduce you to our casters for the event. It is Monster, D-Face, and Jacob PR.
That's right. Thank you so much, Zeke.
Yeah,
we do
LB.
have the pleasure, the honor of calling all the action this weekend, and my gosh, the energy is already starting to, you really feel it.
Yeah, it's absolutely insane. And for myself, man, watching you cast the World Cup,
the first
now
game
being
starts
here
in
with
under
you,
3
this
minutes.
is a dream come true. And then getting to cast this global competition, insane.
Right, and that is what we have in store for us, of course. It's an amazing competition. What a special moment, not only for the competitors, but all of you who get to tune in here and watch this return to an in-person event. It couldn't be better, and already you see the content, like the real interview pieces where we get to read the players, read the room.
Yep.
There's a lot of contested, there's a lot of fights that are going to play out.
Yeah, and like I'm saying, and it said it kind of before earlier today, speaking in the back, that these players, they're really good friends. They like to sit in the same Discord, they talk, they play Fortnite together all the time. But when that battle bus starts, Monster, they're no longer friends. They're looking at each other like they're the enemy.
Yeah, definitely. You see the Pink and a Nas battle, or Pink versus Clicks,
Yeah.
you know, engagement that might be going down there as well. So that's us. We're going to be calling all types of action this weekend. Zeke, thanks for checking in with us.
Hey, thank you so much. My goodness, we are not that far from kicking off the competition. I just want to get your guys' kind of quick thoughts here as we prepare. What are expectations coming into just the first 6 games of the FNCS Invitational?
I straight up expect the crowd to be loud. We already heard when some of those interviewee names are called, the crowd was going crazy. When the action really starts to kick off, I want these players to fuel themselves with the energy from the crowd and really just take home a real solid, clean game number 1. But then also, you know, if it's not a good game number 1, use that in game number 2 as experience.
Exactly, and I think that this in-person event is a really important experience for a lot of the duos competing here today, but I'm super excited to see what happens with some of our international regions, because we do have so many duos that are actually going uncontested, and one that immediately comes to mind, Runa and Peppa, for example. They've got all of Lustrous Lagoon to themselves, and with that much available loot and resources, I wouldn't be surprised if they're able to kind of kick it up higher in the leaderboards than what some people might be expecting.
Yeah, that's right. And some of these duos, man, this is their first time in a setting like this, right? To have an amazing crowd like all of you here in person. So make sure you guys are just screaming your heads off. It is almost that time to start the show. So for now, let's go on over to Adam and Kelly.
Yes, Zeke, it is getting very close now. This is it. Audience, North Carolina, are you ready for this?
Wow, that's a big crowd.
I am so excited, Kelly. We're so close
Man,
now
that crowd
to
is
the beginning
huge.
of FNCS Invitational.
And I cannot wait for what we are about to show everyone. But guys, we know what you're here for. You're here for the games. You're here for the players. So in just 5 seconds, I'm going to need your help for the countdown, everyone. All right?
Here we
Join
go.
me. 10, 9,
8. 3, 2, 1. I guess that's the trophy as well. That looks like the champion pickaxe. Is that where it is? Damn. Oh, I wish I was there, chat. Oh my god. Zach the GOAT. What's up, bro? Oh, there's the players down there. Yep, I can see the screens. Oh, the players are not there yet. They'll be introduced. Thank the bus driver. That's the battle bus. Oh, there's the trophy there. You guys can literally see it. It's Jesus. Oh, Bon Kui. Hey, how you doing?
Hello there and welcome to FNCS Invitational 2022 live here in Raleigh, North Carolina!
Raleigh's the name, got it.
Live to the world for this beautiful live audience. My name is Adam Savage.
And I am Kelly Link. We will be your hosts over the next 2 days. And in those 2 days, you guys will witness 12 incredible games of Fortnite. 50 of the best duos around the world.
50?
7
Damn.
regions will not just be duking it out for the $1 million prize pool. They won't just be fighting for the pride and prestige. They're going to be fighting for that trophy right there.
Can we get an ooh? I'm getting goosebumps here, Kelly. We've set the scene here for you guys. We've had a chance to talk to the broadcast team. We've seen you guys in the audience looking amazing. But now, are you ready to meet the stars of this show?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
It's time
No way.
to meet the players!
Wait, yo, are they playing today? Yeah.
Epic will and read everyone. Domination is the key word here. With multiple FNCS championships under their belt, the Grand Royale win, the World Cup experience, this team could take it all.
Give it up for Fabs and Snacky as
NA West.
three-time FNCS champions of the NA West region. This duo is here, and they are not playing around.
Welcome to PSN and Quintos, coming in all the way from the Brazilian region with a total of 5 share of FNCS titles. They are now ready to prove to themselves and the world.
Put your hands together.
I love gritty, yeah.
Deal. Champions of Fortnite
like
Champion Series Chapter 3, Season 3 Europe. They are the German powerhouses.
Queasy and Vino, folks, mixing it up with the FNCS champion of Chapter 3, Season 1 and Season 2. These guys are not to be messed around with. Watch out.
This is Rapid and Andalex, a duo forged specifically for this event. French powerhouse paired together with a Middle Eastern player. This one is going to be interesting.
Let's put your hands together for Basil and Jace, the champions of FNCS Chapter 3 Season 1 OCE. This is their moment to prove what they can do.
Stand up and get loud for Pete and Nas from top-tier performances in several tournaments, including the latest third-party event. Now they are here in Raleigh to do it again.
If you say Poland, I say Cammy and Seti. The absolutely dominating duo. They are ready to compete for the FNCS Invitational title and become legends.
Let's hear it for Aqua and Reason, a duo World Cup teaming up with an iconic and highly competitive German juggernaut. This can only go well.
3 guys in a Peely costume. 3 guys in Peely costumes.
I cannot believe with just 10 players coming out, the Raleigh Convention Center are absolutely losing their minds. I hope you guys have enough in the tank until we got another 40 duos, so please don't pass out. That was just the first 10. What are thoughts?
We're stacked. We are stacked. I haven't even seen the rest of the. We're stacked. We're stacked, right? Snacky and Fabs being one of those dominant duos being showcased right there in one of our first 10 to present. Listen, they're on a hot streak right now. Coming out of the NA West region, back-to-back FNCS wins in Season 1 and Season 2 of this chapter.
If you guys are down to watch FNCS, you can either watch it on this stream, or you guys can watch it on YouTube, on the official Fortnite YouTube channel, the official Fortnite's Twitch account, and if you go on Fortnite and go to the Legends landing map, you guys can also do that too. So those are the only 3 you guys can do.
Give it up for
Oh, Mr. Savage. Mr. Savage.
Fortnite OG teaming up with this highly competitive Norwegian teammate. This is not a drill, everyone. Let's go.
Did Mr. Savage join like a different clan?
A team that needs no introduction.
Hey, there they are.
Climbing their way up the ranks, 4th in the most recent NA East FNCS. They won the first Elite Cup of their region, and they're ready to take on the international stage.
This is cold and scented.
Phase scented.
They're like bread and butter, best together when placing in end games, finishing both 2nd and 5th in the most recent 2 FNCSs.
Make some noise for Runa and Peppo. The Japanese powerhouse are here to rock
Japanese?
our world. With several FNCS titles in the bag, they might just make it happen again.
Put your hands together for Noah Riley and Bad Sniper. This newly formed duo for this event have both World Cup, Cash Cup, and FNCS experience under the belt. I mean, this can become dangerous.
Give it up for Threats and Alice. The combination of Asia and NA East is going to be super exciting to see as this newly formed
Asia
duo
and
will
NA
take
East?
on the competition.
The W-Keyers have arrived. Malabuka and Stash, one of the most aggressive duos of the EU region. They have always consistently come out with the most limbs, and this weekend, it should be no different.
Put your hands together for Trulex and Chicho, long-standing duo featuring a former trio FNCS champion. They're ready to prove their worth to the world of Fortnite.
Let's welcome Bailey and Alex. First is how this duo has placed on the Oceania region, and now
another power
they must
member.
be
That's 2 of them.
absolutely ready for the big stage.
Give it up for Pablo Ingu and Swag. Now this is what you get when you mix raw talent with maturity and experience. This is a flaming hot duo.
Right, ladies and gentlemen, how are you doing out there? I'm joined right now by Clicks and Duke. Make some noise! All right, Clicks, my friends, out here in front of a live audience, you've experienced World Cup before. How great is you back here in front of all these amazing people?
You know, after 2 years, it's finally a pleasure to, be at another LAN event, seeing the crowd, different atmosphere, so hopefully we do good.
Absolutely, and Duke as well, I'm going to ask you, quite new to in-person events, but being here, this experience so far, being around the players, the audience, how are you feeling going into this?
I'm feeling great. It's like, the experience is insane. I'm loving it.
You're absolutely loving it. Are you guys loving it too? All right, Clicks and Duke, thank you so much, guys. And let's over to Kelly and see who she's with.
From one Savage to another, I am joined by Mr. Savage and iDrop here. Now, iDrop, I know that you guys are going to be contested on drop. Are you planning on fighting or splitting?
100% fighting. I've had it uncon for 12 months on the best region, so we're definitely fighting.
I love it. Mr. Savage, I heard that it's your birthday today.
Dang.
Everyone, on 3, can we give Mr. Savage a big happy birthday? 1, 2, 3.
Happy birthday.
All right, guys, good luck in game number 1, and
How
let's
old
head
is
on
he
to the
turning?
next 10 players.
How old is he turning?
welcome Cloud and Refsguard. With the powerhouse performance in Chapter 3 Season 1, this consistent teammate he has picked up these last couple of chapters, they can take it all the way.
Let me give you Mixon and Otto, a
Dang,
very performing
he turned
duo
18
coming out
today.
strong together with a 7th place finish in the most recent EU FNCS. They could take it all the way.
Mr. Savage turns 18 today, guys.
With a great start to Chapter 3, these guys have taken home both 2nd and 6th and 2 FNCSs this chapter. Now it is time to see them here at the Invitational.
Put your hands together for Belusi and Hijo. A lot of FNCS experience coming out of these guys, and that will be needed this weekend in order to take home the prize.
Vico and Marine, everyone, with a combination of a young and talented player and an even more experienced player side by side, this can only go well for this European duo.
On1 and Baka, everyone. A duo showcasing their skills last season of the NA West region. With a 2nd place finish in FNCS, they're here to take home the glory.
Let's hear it for Watson Robot, a very talented, promising, up-and-coming young duo. These guys have been performing so solid lately. Can they keep it going?
Pros and Rifty, one of the newer yet well-performing duos in this lobby. With his 6th place finish and his first FNCS, these guys came to take on a challenge.
And a big welcome to NA East, Larson and Smite, a well-performing Chapter 3 duo. They are here and ready to compete on the big stage amongst the best of the best.
Put your hands together for Falconer and Hellfire, an NA West OG, teaming up with an aggressive style European player. Now it's time to find out if it pays off.
$30 duos. You can already tell this is gonna be some of the craziest Fortnite we have possibly ever seen. 7 regions being represented on this stage right now. Clown and Refsguard, the first duo to walk out though. I mean, some of the more notable players in EU.
They're definitely a fun duo to follow along with, although it's only their 3rd FNCS actually competing together. I think that it's interesting to note that they both, as individuals, respectively, had top 10 finishes in past FNCS finals, so they definitely have what it takes to place high up in the leaderboards. But what I want to see them do as a duo, more specifically, is kind of take that to the next level. You've made top 10 before, but let's see you actually win it all.
Whew, there you go, win it all. Tall task, especially seeing these 30 duos that have walked out already.
That's right, man. Well, Vivid, guess what? We got another 10 for you. So, Raleigh, make some noise!
There we go. Who do we got?
Put your hands together.
Peter Bond, hey, let's go.
The individual skill is so high in this duo, and despite being new,
there we go. He actually reveals his face.
Title wins.
Make some noise for Pamstu and Fats, the French-Canadian duo with a tight bond.
A French-Canadian duo, let's
and
go.
The most recent NA East FNCS as 3rd. They are here to take it all.
KBR and Z, folks, the regional FNCS champions
of
Brazil Chapter 3 Season 2, and now they are here and ready to compete on the international stage.
Let's give a warm welcome to Bevy and Vortexers, a duo fresh out of the lobby with only 1 FNCS together as teammates. They're now ready to give it their all here in Raleigh.
And a big welcome to Retake and Novice, the most recent FNCS champions of Chapter 3 Season 3 as well. They are here now ready for the FNCS Invitational.
Give it up for Scram and Chimp, combining the powers of EU and NA East. These guys have
Yo, what's good, Daily? How you doing, man?
together for Zaku and Marine, the most recent FNCS champions of Asia. They have put their mark on their region, and now they are ready to defend the title as champions.
A huge welcome to Ju and Yusri. Great potential in this duo here, and fairly recently teaming up together. Their journey begins now, and what a journey it's gonna be.
Oh, shoot, guys. Sorry about that.
This is Z, Andy, and Joe FN, everybody. Several FNCS final performances, and most recently fourth in EU's FNCS. Now, they are ready to take home the big prize.
It's Cool and Yumi with a stunning performance winning the NA West Chapter 3 Season 3 FNCS. We cannot count these guys out.
Appreciate the
and
sub,
will
though, bro.
they do it here
Appreciate
as well?
40 players down, 10 more to go here. But before we can get to that 10, I have a special interview with Swearin. And Swearin, just being here in front of all these people with this big, beautiful stage, what are you feeling?
I feel really great. Like, this is so cool. I mean, Raleigh showed up, Fortnite community showed up, players showed up, like everyone's excited. I don't know, I'm hyped for this. Like, it's so awesome.
I'm super hyped as well. And I know that you recently ran a tournament where it was just all Goo Guns. Obviously, thankfully, we're not going to be seeing any Goo Guns today, but what do you hope to see?
Okay, real quick, I didn't run that. That was Beach Cobbler. I played in it, did really bad. I'm really excited to see people just like push for high ground and like just do like really exciting plays and stuff. I'm excited to see people like 1v2 and clutch up and then just like all those classic like Fortnite LAN moments. I'm excited for it. It's gonna be so awesome.
I cannot wait as well. And I believe, everyone, that we have 10 more players to introduce. So let's head on over to Jacob and MDF.
Who we got next?
This is King and Ed Lagana,
King.
duo, but there are no new names here. From the World Cup all the way to the Invitational stage, these guys are the biggest threat to the lobby.
Please welcome Focus and Spy with progression throughout each and every FNCS with a third place finish in the most recent Middle Eastern FNCS. These guys are ready to compete.
It is Thomas HD and Tripburn, folks. Two words: dangerous and dominating, as these two are extremely experienced and they must be ready to win this weekend here in North Carolina.
A huge welcome to Macwood and Kanata. Reunited has never felt so good.
I heard about
These guys
that
are
one.
looking to pick up where they left off and take home the prize.
Let's hear it for Acorn and Edgy. Consistently great performances throughout their careers. They are here to continue that trend. NA East, show them some love.
Hen and Vortex, everyone. An incredible duo coming out hot with tons of experience and a few FNCS champions up to the belt, and they're looking to add one more.
Oh, here we go.
And Avery, your Chapter 3, Season 3, NA East, FNCS winners with one of the closest end games
Avery
we have
and
ever seen in a
Commandant.
finals. It's time.
NA East FNCS champions
A
from
duo
last season.
that needs no introduction. Tayson and
Tayson.
Chapix combined 6 FNCS titles, countless Cash Cup wins, and now they're ready to take on the global competition.
What's this dude doing?
Let's give it up for Maz and Lunar.
Ah, there they are.
Multi-regional FNCS winners.
That's like
previous
3
champions of
power
OCE's
members in
FNCS
this.
as well. Listen, these guys have got it all.
Hey, there they are.
For Booba and Miro, our solo World Cup champion with his multiple FNCS winning duo partner. These guys are looking to cement their legacy.
I like the Sen uniform though. Dang, it's kind of nice.
Let's
go.
freaking go! Look at this insane.
Yo, Andy, what's good? In some years, we will see Ovi there. Nah, not at all, Andy.
I'm gonna pass out. Vincent, I'm gonna pass out.
Please do not pass out, Zeke. Listen, 50 of the duos now set on stage, and one of them is standing out to me. And I know it's standing out to another part of the crowd right up there. King and Ed, making a big name for himself at World Cup, of course, being the most aggressive player there. He stole the hearts of all the fans, and I'm hoping that he kind of redoes that performance here at the Invitational.
And his flexibility as a player, I think, is only going to pair so nicely with Ed. Despite the fact this is their first time competing together for this FNCS Invitational, I think that it's awesome that he came in 5th.
When did they start? I don't know. We'll see.
There as well, so it's a quick indicator that
Here, I'll keep the volume down to this a little bit.
That's right.
I think they're done, the players.
You guys at home, if maybe this hasn't quite set in, you don't understand how insane this is. 15 FNCSs, 105 FNCS events across
Jesus.
7 regions.
Wow.
FNCS championship titles on that stage. 47 FNCS champions on that stage.
Yeah. What?
27 countries all represented on that stage.
Wow, that's insane.
We're ready to kick off the competition. Adam,
oh,
let's do this.
Here we go.
Yes, indeed. Can we get a huge round of applause for Thomas HD and Trippin? Thomas, it's 10 top 10 FNCS finals for you. You must be feeling very confident coming into this competition.
Yeah, I'm really excited to play. It's gonna be a long time since like the last land event.
What the heck just happened to the volume there for a second?
I can't wait to compete. Hopefully, a good placement.
Well, I'm sure it will be great. I mean, Trippin as well. This is your 3rd FNCS finals together. Is it 3rd time lucky for you, fellas?
Yeah, hope so. I'm excited to play, and yeah, I'm playing with Thomas, so can't go bad.
All right, give him a big round of applause, please, folks! Best of luck, fellas. But we also, whilst up here as well, must chat to the reigning NAE champions as well. Give it up for Kamal and Avery! Avery, my man. This is an incredible opportunity and experience. Obviously, playing in front of a live audience as well. How hyped are you guys as a duo right now?
Well, this is my first LAN. It's an honor, honestly, to be here. Like, it's just unbelievable.
It really, you guys are unbelievable! We've also got as well, to talk about obviously last season's win. 1 point separated you guys from 1st and 2nd place, which is Booga and Miro. How are you going to try and retain that title this weekend? What do you have to do right?
We're just going to try to play our game, be consistent, and hopefully we can take it home.
Do you think they can take it home, folks? Yeah?
We'll see.
They seem confident. Thank you very much. Come on, Avery. Back to you, Zeke.
Thank you so much. We are drawing ever closer to starting this competition, kicking off and jumping out of that battle bus. We have to highlight a few more duels for you. I wanted to start pretty easy here, right? Janice and Vidil. I mean, EU fans, you guys already know what these guys are capable of.
Holy.
And here's just a handful of stats. You know, these stats don't look that crazy vivid.
Are you sure, Zeke? Because I don't think we're looking at the same stats if you don't think those look crazy. This is from the Elite Finals EU Week 6. Total point 310, 25 eliminated. That's just over the course of those 6 games, of course. And listen, if they're putting on performance like that from game to game, I can't wait to see what they can do at the Invitational.
And it's so exciting to finally get a chance to see them compete on that international space because we are looking as well at the European FNCS champions from Chapter 3 Season 3. That's Giannis and Vidil. They are a dynamic duo. They don't want to mess around. Even at one of the intro videos that we saw, what was the first thing that Vidil said? You want to contest us? That's fine. 3 points for us.
The confidence. Listen, I love the confidence out of everybody. Also, you know, shout out to Trippin, right? Because like his interview went, yeah, I'm playing with Thomas. We're going to do great. Like it literally can't go bad. That is a lot of trust in your duo right there. Love that.
You love to see it. Talking about Vidil and Janice, they're currently uncontested at Greasy Grove. What does this mean for this duo? Having a POI uncontested that literally 6 other regions and even your own said, no, you can have that. That's fine.
Listen, this is how it goes, okay? You pretty much get to play all 12 games, right? But because you aren't contested plus 1, you aren't finding any of those early fights. So you have to go forcefully find some of these fights, and it can be very, very hard when the pressure's on, the nerves are kicking in, the audience is cheering on the stage. You know, you're thinking about it. man, do I really want to go take that fight? Do I really want to go get that Storm Surge? So they have to be confident in those routes, those strategies that they have set.
It's the audience aspect that I'm really curious to see how it impacts a lot of these duos, not just Giannis and Vadil, because it's one thing to play from the comfort of your home. It's another entirely to be in front of a live audience where when you got the cheers going behind you, you never know where that momentum might actually influence you to go next. I wouldn't be surprised for some of these players to really have to hone in on a lot of that mental discipline to not let themselves get distracted by any of the flashing lights or the noise. Just stick to what they know.
That's right. Let's talk about another duo, Clix and Duke. We actually got to hear from them via Adam. I mean, look, yeah, their crowd's already going absolutely ham. Clix fans, rise up. What can we expect from this duo?
Oh. Listen, I'm excited, right? Because Clix has been improving from season to season, day to day as an IGL, teaming up with Duke, of course, who is very, very good mechanically. You know, I saw him in the practice room, always grinding the creative, always willing to take on pretty much anybody in that room who wanted to give a shot at seeing if they could take him down.
And it's impressive how well Clix has managed to simultaneously totter between this pro player aspect as well as the heavy side of content creation. I think that it is not very easy to maintain both of those lifestyles. And not only that, but when you have somebody as experienced as Duke right next to you, I can understand where the trust comes from this duo. And knowing that they're against Pinkett and Nas, potentially at Fort Jonesy, I do believe we heard them mentioning, though, a possibility of just splitting at the start.
Well, listen, I love the fact that you mentioned content, right? Because, listen, you know, he's used to that, right? He wants the reactions. He posts that content to get reactions. And here, what other better place to get reactions than from a live crowd? So maybe he'll just straight up embrace it, and it'll fuel him.
That's right. I have to highlight this duo, man. Your FNCS Asia champions who are competing on this stage. There they are, Zagu and Meram. Remember, these are FNCS champions. They literally just won the FNCS that passed. And now we will see them compete. When we look at the stats, man, I'm pretty worried for everybody else.
344.
So we were just talking about, you know, Vadil and Giannis, who coming into this event are a lot of people's favorites, right? But right there, they had 310 points in one of those Elite Cups. Right there, I saw them have 344. There's a little bit of competition going on there. And as you can see from the camera shot, I love it, the preparation. They literally have printed out sheets of spots on the map, things that can help them out through this competition, anything to give them the edge.
And from the moment that we saw just how much energy they were actually bringing with them on their initial walkout, to the point of them sitting down here now, their faces do not indicate any sort of nervousness. They could very well be a big part of the bamboozlement to take place here with the international flavor.
I mean, they're up against Commandment and Avery, right? I feel like this could go really well for one of these duels. It could be really messy. I mean, what do you think, Vivid?
Over at the Rave Cave. Listen, I think, you know, ultimately Commandment and Avery are going to be comfortable over there, right? They did win an FNCS from this POI, and of course, you know, Zygu is landing on the outskirts of that. So I don't even know if they're going to take any of those early fights. But again, as the game develops, if they start to struggle on Storm Surge in the later parts of the game, they might want to start taking that early fight.
But there is usually enough space surrounding Rave Cave for duos to not necessarily have to look for those early engagements if they don't want to. And you also have to keep in mind that they're not the only ones that are going to be landing there. There's also going to be Thomas HD and Tripper. That is a notorious favorite spot for them to go, is that south side of the Rave Cave. So curious to see where exactly these zones wind up actually taking these players and how their encounters might actually shape up.
That's right. There is a duo here that is quite terrifying. You know, out of Brazil, not a big deal. The fans of them are up here in the audience. It's King and Ed. I mean, if you, the crazy thing is, King is one of the most winningest player. I mean, the crowd's already going crazy.
There it is.
One of the most winningest, one of the single-handedly craziest mechanical players you will ever see in your life. But when you pair it up with just stopping power, which he also has by himself, he is a one-man army.
Yeah. Listen, of course, King representing FaZe, and shout out and congratulations to Ed. Recently, just days before the event, signing the Team Liquid. Amazing opportunity there. As you can see him dripped out in the jersey, showing it off here at the Invitational. And what I love most about this is that
that's
again,
King from the
in person, right?
The
so
World Cup that happened in Arthur Ashe Stadium.
King
in 2019.
Ed, 2v2 matches, almost day and night, in and out. And listen, they were dominating players from every single region.
But the sheer presence that you have as an international player, and I'm speaking about King here, because the fact that he actually has audience members with signs of his name at an NA-based venue, that alone speaks volumes for the kind of impact that he has had on the Fortnite scene.
These guys are uncontested. We already know what this means for everybody else. It means they're going to get a free pass into the mid-game. If they are allowed this opportunity, what the heck is everybody else going to look to do to try and stop them?
Nothing. 12 games of pure aggression.
Oh,
from
they're in
King
the
to
spawn
that
arena.
Just straight up, nothing else.
And also just a really quick note there about Ed. He has been steadily improving with each of his performances throughout the entirety of Chapter 3. So if the momentum kind of keeps going in that direction, again, I don't think that international gameplay is going to disappoint by any means. These guys are amped up. They are ready to showcase their representation for their regions.
That's right. We want to come on over back to NA. We got to talk about Fams and Snacky, an iconic duo, to say the least.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, they're pretty good. That's pretty right.
Only, 2 FNCS wins just this chapter, followed by a 3rd place, all of that, and the aggression from Tilted Towers. I can tell you right now, watch some of the Elite Cup games. They do not like to leave Tilted Towers without at least trying to find a fight. And I think that's going to play into the part, right? Some of the other players landing at Tilted Towers might not be expecting it. Maybe they came into this like, we're going to split it. No, I'm pretty sure they're going to be aggressive.
And we've already touched on a little bit with this duo earlier today, but they are, in fact, certified point getters, because on top of that stat that I gave you guys earlier, we're out of 36 FNCS finals games for Chapter 3. They only went 2 without elims. Well, guess what else? They didn't go a single game in Chapter 3 FNCS finals without scoring points of any capacity throughout every single round. That is insane.
Just a stat line, right? I mean, this stage is going to, it's legitimately some of the best players from all representing 7 regions from all around the world. It's absolutely ridiculous. I wanted to really quickly touch. I know both of you
there's
guys
one of
come
those
from
big
competitive
mouse
player
pads.
backgrounds. You know what this feels like to be on a stage like this, to be in front of a crowd like this. What are some of these players feeling right now?
Listen, some of them, they're looking locked in, right? They're looking like focused. They're not even thinking about the crowd. They don't even see the crowd beyond the monitors right now, which is really, really good for some of them. But I'm telling you, some of them are probably just really good at hiding the nerves, because being at these events, it's a different atmosphere. We talked about it time and time again. It is not the same as playing in your room at all. You will have all these lights. Maybe the desk is a little bit of a height difference. The chair is a little bit different than what you're used to, and it all plays into part, how well you're going to do. I remember as a player myself feeling a little bit uncomfortable on the stage, not because of the crowd, not because of the lights, but simply because of, slight changes in how I was used to sitting.
It's just not your home setup, and that's going to be naturally difficult for any player to overcome, no matter how much in-person or LAN experience they might actually have underneath their belt. But one thing that I always find a little bit fun talking with some of the players, even yesterday and in the player lounge, it's asking them what are their kind of little tips and tricks. I want to know how many of them like taking their shoes off, for example, because it's just that it adds that extra little safety net of just, hey, I feel more like I'm at my in-home environment.
Yeah, 100%. And this is all I know it sounds like, take your shoes off. That's like a joke right now. This is legitimately, man, when a player is comfortable, they will perform better. It's proven. Why don't we go hang out with, we got with Tokata, Mini Minor. Are you guys in the player area?
We are indeed, Zeke. Now, some of these players might have their shoes off, but we've got our thinking hats on about this day today at Takata. I mean, we've got 2 days of Fortnite action. I'm excited. We're going to be breaking everything down tomorrow and today, of course, but how excited are you?
Look, I'm incredibly excited, right? There's so many storylines that have yet to be built, right? We have Malibuka and Merstash going against European GOATs, Titans, right? Tayson and Chapix down in the cloudy condos, and even with the 3rd duo there, Aqua Reason, with a possible 3rd party. I'm excited to see that engagement. We even have Mr. Savage being contested up north, closer to Logjam, and then down at the Synapse Station, Joe and Ziandi, which are no longer contested because now Baka and On1 have moved up north to Mr. Savage and his duo's drop spot. I mean, there's a lot of action to unfold. Mini, I'm excited.
I'm super excited as well, but things can change, of course. We know how these drops are maybe going to form. We see some people moving around and changing up their idea of how they're going to play this. So be on the lookout for some changes. Be on the lookout for some of these players and teams that are thinking, actually, you know what, let's switch things up. Let's go for plan B, plan C, plan D, plan Z, maybe. Who knows?
That's what I love about Fortnite, right? You never know what's actually going to happen, right? We might be able to see the drop map, see what these duos have planned ahead of time, but who knows? Maybe they have a not so great game 1 and then they have to change things up, or maybe even after halftime, right? 3 games down, you're like, okay, we're not doing too good. We got to change something up. But I'm excited to see who's going to be able to show that they've been practicing. They have been in the player lounge going against each other, even in creative, doing 1v1s, 2v2s. And I mean, there's so much to see. I really just can't wait.
So much to see, so much to do, and I can feel the energy in the arena right now. But Zeke, please take it away. We're too hyped.
Bro, I'm right there with you, man. I just cannot wait to see all of the action unfold before our very eyes. We're almost there. Just a couple little things before we start the battle bus on its journey. I wanted to highlight another duo, Cammy and Seti, right? For you longtime EU fans as well,
It's happening
you know
soon.
these guys recently just won a DreamHack. They've literally came in 1st and 2nd place in a solos competition. They were the best 2 players at the tournament.
You know, and the thing that I love about Cammy and Seti is that individually, they kind of remind me of myself, right? That really slow, methodical game play style. They're not going to go for anything too flashy, anything too risky. They're just going to play their game out and play that top 10, top 5 consistent every single game because they are landing at that mid-map spot uncontested.
Yeah, the infamous Cammy split, as everybody in EU and just about the world has basically come to know. Exactly, but I am curious to see how their surge management actually unfolds throughout the entirety of Chapter 3. I don't think that they really had too many issues with it, but it is important to note that for this duo specifically, they don't really like fighting early. And, well, fortunately, having an uncontested drop spot can definitely feed into that. So naturally, you want to wonder where their points are going to come from or where their surge management is going to come from. And I think that that is something that they're largely just going to have to control throughout their mid-game.
And they also have to be very, very careful when they're landing there in the center of the map. There are a lot of teams landing around them, especially, you know, we think about Tilted Towers right to the left of kind of where they're landing. And then also center map, you know, Cold and Sentinel are expected to be contested there at that loot lake kind of area. So if any of those teams kind of want to disengage from some of those early spawn play situations, they could easily run over to the split that Cammy and Seti are looking to take and maybe gather up some loot themselves, which could force a fight. And that's really disadvantageous for Cammy and Seti because they're going to be split, right? They're at these split jobs, so they're usually off on their own.
And I think what you're getting at is adaptability, right? These duos being able to moment say, we had a game plan, we did not find the chest, we did not find the thing, we got tagged, someone has pushed on our like location, we need to change up something. What does that look like, man, right? Like, if this was EU FNCS, I'm like, oh yeah, no problem, I got all the notes for you, but it's NA East, it's NA West, it's Asia, BR, OCE, you know, there's so many other regions that you have to kind of be accounting for. And not only their own meta, it's that duo, right? Like, oh, I know they're from BR and they do this, oh great.
I mean, listen, you're bringing up a great point there, right? Like, how? You don't have many notes on a lot of these teams because they're just around for the entire world, right? And that's why international events are held at such a high praise because they're just straight up harder. The competition from all around the world, it's harder to play against people that you don't normally play against.
And the competitive lobby metas that you'll often see break out throughout the course of each of these 12 games in this weekend, I think that that is going to be a really crucial aspect for some of these teams to hone in on. We know that these players have been cramming VOD review leading up to today. We know that they're going to be doing plenty more of it after these 6 games are even played tonight. But as far as Cammy and Seti are concerned, just touching back on them, I like the fact that you brought up the early game engagements because honestly, their all-time record, by the way, first 3 zones, they have a less than 5% of elim scoring throughout those first 3 zones. So they don't like the early game engagements.
That is absolutely crazy indeed. You know, a duo I feel like could be a dark horse in the competition that I really want to see kind of win it all. It's Acorn and Edgy. Edgy over in NA has come 2nd place. So close, so many times. Paired up with Acorn. Look, we know this duo is absolutely incredible. They are some of the toppest caliber duos that NA has to offer. But Edgy just hasn't been able to grasp that #1 spot. And what I feel like for me to come out of this event and say, I'll walk away with the Swarovski trophy, baby, that'd be pretty sweet.
Look at Edgy waving. What's up, Edgy? Listen, Edgy loves it, man. You know, we're laughing at him getting, you know, 2nd place 4 times. He himself, last about it. Look at it. I wonder where he's landing. He has the picture of himself.
Don't show your drop spot.
Now. Tilted Towers.
We haven't even started yet.
They were real confident coming into this event. Unfortunately, they are contested by a plethora of other teams over at Tilted Towers. I really think that if they were uncontested, they could probably run away with this event. We'll have to see what happens. I still think it's possible. I think it's a little bit less likely, but I was watching Acorn, you know, yesterday, last night, even into the later night, 10, 11 o'clock. He was still VOD reviewing all the way up until then, so I'd love to see the practice coming out of this duo.
But it's the fact that there's 5 duos at Tilted Towers, and literally none of them are willing to budge from this spawn. They all want their piece of the pie here at Tilted Towers, and whether or not this engagement could end up being worthwhile for the duo that even walks away, because when you think about it, Vivid, there might have to be a ton of resources expended.
Holy shit!
Cannot forget, here they are, Queasy Vino. We talked about them at the beginning of the show. And like a circle, we find ourselves back at the beginning. I mean, what more could we possibly say about this duo? They've basically been winning everything as of late. Queasy is looking in absolute top form. Vino has been crushing it. He's ready to go.
You want to know something? So I used to be a professional player. Now I'm an analyst, right? Both are very heavy when it comes to the VOD reviews. I pretty much have just done it for the past 5 years. Very intense. I love it. It's awesome. I have never watched a VOD review and been like, wow, I am impressed on an individual level. Because I've been at the top before, right? You know what I mean? I've seen pretty much everything that these players can do.
You're still first in our hearts, Vin.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that. Vino, I VOD reviewed him for this event. This is an international event. I'm typically on the NAE side of things, but you know, let me dabble in EU so that way I'm prepared for this event. I'm watching Vino. Individually, like I said, I've never been impressed. I was impressed. He seems so clean. Every single action that he does, it seems like it has a purpose. And I genuinely have never seen that out of an individual player, ever.
There's a reason why he's often regarded as one of the best fraggers in Fortnite competitive history right now. And not only that, but he's got a perfect IGL to match that. Queasy is notorious for being an absolute genius for his IGLing. And I think something that I love about Queasy is that his stats also speak for themselves, because you don't go the past 7 seasons getting a victory royale dating all the way back to Chapter 2, Season 6. Without being a consistent IGLer. He just knows how to stay cool, calm, and collected in every single competitive environment.
And I love the fact that you're bringing up the IGLing aspect, right? You know, a lot of these dudes are going to be making a lot of calls. Queasy, what he is known for is his very clean, high ground takes. It just always seems so methodical and flawless whenever he does it. So the pairing is very, very well. But then that's not even like one of the most exciting parts is they always seem to find those mid-game dead side rotations that work out so well that keep them alive into the end game very consistently.
And it's kind of like having a silver bullet, right? You have Vino there ready to go. If you're Queasy, you're just thinking, okay, I need to go accomplish this goal. I'm going to point my silver bullet in a direction. There's an enemy over there I don't like. Vino, why don't you just go 1v2 them for us and then bring their loot and ammo back and builds, and then I'm going to be up on high ground, okay? I'll see you in 30 seconds.
So
That's not a joke.
I'm laughing because, you know, 1v2s, right? They seem impossible, especially on an international stage. But no, like, literally, Vino, he just does it so often, and I cannot wait to get into the game.
That's right. Guess what? Ladies and gentlemen, Fortnite fans, we're ready. The battle bus is all ready. The players are on board. So let's do this.
Here we go.
It's game number 1.
Here we go. Here we go. Game number 1.
Here we go. It is time. Is one just big moment away from really kicking it off. All that preparation, we're going to have to put it into it. The battle bus is ready. Let's go, Jacob.
It is time. Game number 1 of the FNCS Invitational starts right now.
Here we go.
27 different countries are represented. 88 different champions. Overall, this is just amazing.
And just look at the concentration on the players' faces as they start to populate onto this world. Put yourself into their shoes. Imagine the pressure as you are jumping off the battle bus here. We already know what's in store for us. It's going to be an incredible amount of action, as we know there are so many contested drop spots.
Yeah, and already looking at the drop path, one of the biggest ones is going to be over towards Rave Cave, where you have Commandment and Avery, the most recent NA East FNCS champions. They're a little contested. Not going to be a hot fight right out of the gates against Thomas, HD, and Trippin.
Oh, here, let me move my camera.
Just getting that early game done and ready.
That's right, and it is going to be so important for everyone who is
shrink it just a little bit more.
And
there we go.
In the path of caution, you cannot allow yourself to make any risk. Up at Chrome Jam Junction, we already know there's several players on top of each other. Tilted Towers, remember, 5 duos contesting this area, some of which are the most notable: Bad Sniper, Noah Riley, Acorn, Edgy, Babs, and Snacky just to the south.
That's such a stacked stage. You might as well call that the
There's
Legends
3 teams there now.
With Steve Snacky over on the side. You're talking about Bad Sniper as well, but one of our hottest drops.
They are still landing.
Names. Cloudy, Kondo, Feet haven't even touched the ground yet, but it does look like it's going to be Malibuka and Merstash on the ground first.
Malibuka, of course, representing for Russia, Merstash for Latvia. We got Aqua here and Rezon, our high ground kings. One of the most respected set of duos right here. If they really cut loose, they make endgame, it's over. You're gonna see Aqua playing for that big high ground play. And look at how they are respecting the area. Everyone making sure they are solidifying their foundation right before they really decide to make a fight.
Yeah, but look at Malibuca's loot already. A green prime, a blue Evo chrome burst. He's ready to pack a punch at a moment's notice. He's probably waiting for Merstash to probably give him the go-ahead, but another in a regional battle over towards Grim Gables.
Now what's crazy about this, I got to sit down with Muzz and Looter. They are feeling exceptionally confident in beating Larson and Smite, but you have to put yourself into this kind of position right now. There's pressure all around you. To me, it's looking like Larson and Smite have the advantage right now. Just take a look at the focus right here, right? This little bit of high ground, they have them almost trapped down below.
Yeah, and the thing is, right now, Larson is a little bit separated from Smite. That is a little bit towards low ground. You know as well as I do, all it takes is 1 second of separation to kind of do one of these teams in, as Marine and Vico over here towards Reality Tree. Another contested drop. But you can see this is only game number 1. Nobody wants to put on the line just yet, but I might have spoken
Here we go, the first fight.
Taking down a ton of damage on the Muzz. Looter trying to back him up, and it looks like they got the first elimination of FNCS.
Down goes Larson, and the quick finish for Looter. OCE gets to claim the first on the show today. It's Smite now, left with the pressure of the world on his shoulders. Can he escape these OCE players? It doesn't look very possible. We all know from the past experience that Looter and Muzz are some of the fastest and deadliest when it comes down to these engagements, and they're hip to hip right now.
Yeah, Smite right now, he has to figure out a way to just really stay alive, and it looks like Muzz and Looter, they're trying to decide right now, Monster, do you continue to try to fight against Smite as he's looking to try to get that reboot card onto Larson as the third-party shots are beginning to come in from the distance. And that's the thing, you know as well as I do, any drop that's contested and you have that early game fight, and especially it builds just like this, there are so many teams that are look at you to get their surge.
Now in the past, Smite has been known to walk away with at least 1 elim in every single major
2 points
game.
already.
This time
Damn.
might actually break his streak
2
that
points.
he's been on. But Muzz and Looter, take a look at the respect here to play cautious, take their time, and not overcommit even in the 2v1.
Oh, here we go.
Respect, but let's get to the real. Tayson, Chapix taking on this big duo toe-to-toe. It's Merstash and Malibuca, who have a 73%, 78% win ratio when contested. The odds are not looking good. The third party in the distance, Aqua's up on high ground. They're positioning for the fight.
Yeah, Breeze on A and Aqua, they have that high ground. Just put damage onto 2 different players. They're like eating at a buffet right now when it comes to surge, but in the feed, Mr. Savage is down on one in Baka from NA West. They're trying to take control of that POI, but all 3 teams are here. But you got to keep notice while all the action is going down. You see Aqua and Reed trying to keep their distance.
Crazy how they fight back. They are not just allowing this team to third party them. Reason gets super hurt there, and it looks like the battles in the distance get to conclude. But here and now this fight rages on here. Reason all of a sudden who has such an advantageous position, right? And lands all those shots. The entire tables have turned.
Yeah, and it does look like the NA West, Baka and On1 have solidified Chrome Jam Junction to themselves. Down goes Mr. Savage. Down goes iDrop. NA West, make some noise.
That's right, and now for Jace and Basil, another team that was contested in the early kind of situation, but it seems like they've won themselves some space. Yep. They're vibing out. Look at the Storm Surge tags here as they start to fight back the teams that are out on the outer edges here. What a great spot to be, especially with the zone housed right on top of them. They have so much going for them now that they don't have to worry about that. Whoa, a big fight though. On1 gets back. That's the replay there. I love that we got to catch that.
Oh, here's Booga.
The strategy coming out from On1 and Baka, they switched up their drop spots this weekend. It's not like they've been practicing there all season long. They're just adapting on the fly. As you see Booga, Mero, we already talked about that uncontested drop spot of Chonkers Speedway. The zone is kind of above them, and they're one of those teams that just wastes no time trying to figure out what that game plan is. They're going to try to get to zone and then worry about surge when all those other teams that are south and east of them have to go past them.
And the Middle Eastern, one of the few representatives of the Middle East community here, and Andalus, what a monumental task to step up here and for the first time ever compete with a duo. So we love to see what we have going on here. So much representation of all of our spaces. You know what I saw, which was in the feed as well? Japan versus Brazil. Looks like Peppo found one too. So little exchanges happening everywhere.
Damn, some big damage right there.
You know, and Queasy, some of the best at Shiny Sound.
Yep, you see them just going for their own surge. This is going to be one of the wildest lobbies we've ever seen. If you're down on Surge at any point in the game, you're forced to play catch up to all these elite teams who know exactly how to handle their own Surge if they are above. But one of the big teams, one of the favorites to possibly take the competition overall, Janice and Vidil, Greasy Grove, uncontested, and everybody knows what they can do uncontested.
Janice is the only European player to have ever picked up an FNCS in solos, trios, and duos. 3 different game modes, such a decorated team that we have together. That's our German powerhouses. As we jump over to Anas and Pink, what a team right now. Remember, they were contesting Clicks and Duke down at the Joneses. It seems like things might have slowed down for them. They've been a bit more passive. There's a single elim, though, right inside there, too, so that's a pickup.
Yeah, and for a lot of these teams today, this is just game number 1. The nerves right now, they're just feeling each other out, trying to figure out how everybody's playing, and then they're going to adapt as soon as this one gets at least towards the mid-game, probably towards the end game. It's going to get super exciting very, very quick as Merstash, Malibuca, that fight done and over with. They know it's about the resource, about matting up and setting yourself up for later on.
And I love that you say that because what they have that the other teams don't, tons of accessibility to the metal. Yep. You see how their metal resources really starting to cap out there. Tayson and Chapix, though, they're going to give up the drop. They say, hey, enough is enough. We've, kind of gotten our hands dirty. Let's go and move out. And you notice that they also managed to take home the metal as well. Everything else, man, you can find it on your way out, right? It's the toughest resource to rebuild back is that metal when you are at the drop spot. So this is a team, they'll bounce back.
Yeah, and it's also one of the first materials that you use when really trying to defend yourself. As Zagu and Miram just kind of looting up the Greasy Grove, whatever Janice and Vidil left behind. And it's actually a lot of the teams that landed Rave Cave, a little bit north, that are trying to rotate towards this slower side of zone. And right now, everybody are just stuck in zone because nobody wants to bite off more than they can chew.
This is our current reigning champions of the Japanese region, representing for Japan of the Asia region here. Now we jump over to Ed and King, one of the most explosive duos. We talked about Ed's history, how much he's really risen to the challenge, improving season after season. Now paired up with King, they have such a fun history here. They have engaged against one another multiple times in FNCS in seasons past. Now they get to play together.
Yeah, kind of rotating all the way from north, Chrome Jam Junction. They find themselves a sweet spot, but a team that has so much experience together, but years ago, now reuniting for the Invitational, Macwood and Kanata. And let me tell you, in some of those practice games, Monster, that uncontested drop spot that Kanata and Macwood have proven to be fruitful. They got first place in scrims, and now they're here to try to replicate that on the biggest stage.
Only 2 duos have fallen, and now another steps into the position here to possibly take a fight, but no, Bevies and Vortex are known a little bit better. They're going to land right behind Chapix. They find Tayson out by himself, a great shot here, and now he steps up, but smarter to go ahead and defensively poise up here. No need to get too antsy.
Yeah, not just yet, at least. You can't really get too busy too early. There's so many players that right now, you see 95 left alive. When Storm Surge actually activates Monster, this is probably going to be one of the most scariest things I've seen in Fortnite in quite a while.
That is true, and Bevies and Vortexes are really considering peeking out. Now, one thing we spoke about with the professional players is that one thing you don't do is open those big boxes and peek for too long. If there's ever a time to do it, you can do it here in the early game kind of situation while you have some time. But while we have some time, let's just go ahead and catch up with Mini Miner.
Not quite there, Tokata, but close enough. I got you, Monster. We're going to be taking a look at North Shiny Sounds, where we have a fan-favorite duo, Queasy and Vino. I find it interesting how they were playing split up here. Queasy was on the low ground, taking shots from opposing duos, but Vino, up above on the balloon, was able to get free tags on the opposing duos that were looking at Queasy, and having this split mentality in the drop spot is crucial for getting those free tags and able to set yourself up for that late game.
An amazing breakdown there, Jacob.
Yeah, one thing that I didn't really mention it. Did you see the 18 splashes on them? These guys are ready for that end game. If you have that much heals, that's going to allow you, if you are down on Surge, to kind of handle it fast and stacky. FNCS champions from NA West hurting on Storm Surge right now, trying to get themselves back up. But it does look like the fight, maybe the dust have settled, and this is the aftermath. As you see, yeah, Fabs does have 1 elimination, 36 above the damage threshold. Even though right now they have a little bit of comfortability, that threat is still looming in the back of their minds.
That's right, and They rolled up, they took down a team there, and now they get to go ahead and reap the rewards. They needed those tags, but that's not going to be enough. There's a little bit more in front of them. Ooh. A team that's well below the surge right now, our full Middle Eastern duo, Spy and Focus, are sitting here, and it's not looking too hot. 220 damage below. I had so much time to catch up with Spy. He is an incredible, and I mean incredible player, but this is one of those decisions that you have to make now.
No
Who do you pick the fight? There's no easy one. Now we have EU versus NA West. Noah Riley, bad sniper, Epic Will, on the other side of the wall.
This one is going to get close because I already talked about he loves to fight. Epic Will loves to fight as well, but Epic Will is also that IGL, that 6-time champion. He knows when and where to pick his battles in every single one of these situations. So he's probably talking to him right now, get the pre-edit ready, but he's 137 below. This is why they're not abandoning the fight. They have damage to do.
Epic Will and Reed have around a 70+% win ratio when taking on these early game fights in these early zones. It's looking very good for them, but the Surge, no one can beat the Surge. That is going to be inevitable damage in the coming seconds. So this is why this fight's so important. Down comes the Chug Heal. They're just going to go in and sit there, try to get as much health as possible. Meanwhile, in the distance, Threats and Alice are starting to put shots in. So this is not a fight that's not being interfered with. Reed's going to fall first. Epic Will's by himself. Shots come in. Noah Riley wastes no time. They pounce in, and they're hunting now. Reed's on the run. Shots from the side. Who will steal away this elimination here?
Epic Will's down.
To get it in there. It is. They close things up and finish it off quickly, and just like that, EU comes out on top.
Oh my god, but the action is just all over. Basil, Jace, they're out as well. That's Pink and Anas who pick up 2 more. And I even saw moments ago that Booga went down. The elimination feed is just lighting up. Pars and Rays go down as well. This one is getting active very fast, but that's because of the Storm Surge. But this is something I feel like all of us preface just a little bit. Handling that Storm Surge is going to be so important throughout these 12 games.
Kanata and Macwood take down Booga and Miro in the feed. It is done. It is wraps. Meanwhile, Asia's champions are finding some too, but KBR and Z, representing for Brazil, are here, and they need more tags. They're just 8 above. Well played for them to go ahead and find a few to keep them in the game, but let's get on over to that fight that is inevitably gonna continue. Tayson versus Chapix.
And this is exactly what happens when you split it, though. They split that drop spot. They weren't able to get the early damage. Down goes Chapix. Tayson under pressure. HP getting dropped, and there he goes. Back to the lobby. Vidil and Janice do it again.
From teammates to enemies, Janice takes down Tayson in the zone. Just like that, it is over. Now, we jump on over to Onwon and Baka. 3 elims, NA West. One of the few hopes for NA West this weekend right here. Talk to me about how they managed to surge over Mr. Savage and iDrop, and now they're picking it up.
Just honestly talking to them before this as they were preparing, and when they finally made that decision to switch up their drop spot, they had a choice. Do you contest Hen and Vortex? Do you contest Joe and Z Andy? They said no. They want to take one of the biggest names in Europe. They want to go against Mr. Savage and iDrop, and already it's proving to be fruitful. Onwon coming from Mexico. This guy is a legend from NA West, and honestly, it's been just a few seasons and he's already making a name for himself.
That's right, and way to do it on the international stage now when it matters. Now we jump on over to Chicho and Trulix here. What a great spot to be in, my God. Finding beautiful tags here, holding the team out on the side. Meanwhile, Vidil and Janice look like they have finally made it from outside the storm line. Tough spot to be in. You have a lot of water here, very little land terrain to work with, and take a look in the distance there. You see the stacking starting to happen. Meanwhile, on the other side, some of the NA East best, Edgy and Acorn. Now what's cool about this duo here is that Edgy and Acorn quite literally said, hey, the better the lobby skill-wise, the better I will perform. That is how much experience he's picked up in the past from practicing against the best of the best lobby.
And already, if you look at their loot right now, that 5-team contestation coming out of Tilted Towers, honestly, didn't do too much. 256 above the damage threshold as well. Shots
he's down.
To fire off on the Jew. He goes down. Elimination's going to be cleaned up to Acorn. They gave 2 to their total.
Storm
and his
is
teammate
active.
U3 goes down as well. That's going to be Vidil. No Riley picking up some more eliminations as well.
What a quick way to finish that one off. And there's a problem here. We have Baka and Onwon sitting on the walls. If NA East champions are most recent of Avery and Command, you can see they've actually taken a lot of damage here. They were just below the surge quite a bit ago. And yes, more damage is starting to come in. It's only a matter of time now for them. They will have to take a fight.
Oh
That's
my
no
God.
easy fight on the other side of the wall, but first tags there are going to go to the side of the NA East boys.
Yeah, Onward and Baka right now, they just need to play their game. They are down on Storm Surge in terms of commandment and Avery, 65 above. Those traded shots, actually, I wish Onward and Baka would have just stayed in the box because honestly,
they
if
had
they
no
would have
heals.
just waited a little bit longer, Storm Surge would have had these guys almost down and out and they could have easily cleaned those up. But right, they're just playing safe. They just want to go ahead and make it towards their end game because this is one of the teams. They finished second in the last FNCS of NA West. They know how to fight with the best of them.
This is what it's all about. We show up for big moments like this. Can you step up to the plate? We are just moments away from the game becoming extremely difficult. The zone is only getting tighter and tighter, and take a look at how many players have huge pressure, rapid and endless now. And they have Clicks and Duke sitting above them. Macwin and Kanata starting to look down as well. They're off to a hot start. That is one of the teams to look out for. Meanwhile, a single Elim already for Clicks on the other side. So they've survived the drop. A huge shot. Clicks finds a one. They're on to Intellect in the
Hey, yeah,
Managed to get 2 more eliminations. Oh my gosh.
Hey, you got to give him credit though. He said it himself.
11
he has
points
that World Cup
this duo.
experience teamed with an FNCS champion in Duke, his first time in an in-person event, and he's already loving the environment. Even though he didn't take that off-spawn fight, it was so that he can make it towards this end game and continue to do things like that.
Alice and Threats, they're communicating with a translator between them. NA East and Japan playing with each other, but hold up. Vadil, Janice, this is a problem. One of our favorites. When you look online, you look at Twitter, you look at what everyone is putting together for a top 10 list. You expect this team to do so well in game 1 and already broken apart.
Yeah, Janice was down inside of the storm. Vadil really couldn't go and save him. He has no HP really to regain. Merstash and Malabuka, another one of those teams towards Cloudy Condos where nobody really fought it off spawn. They got some tags and left. 31 below.
Holy
the pressure
smokes.
is on. They're so close to zone, but they can't necessarily travel to zone because they have to worry about Storm Surge. That's actually doing a ton of damage.
31 below. Not looking good, Jacob. Tags are coming in. Clock is ticking. They do have heals. They can survive for a little bit more, but you hear the shots raging everywhere as the lobby turns online. Vadil fires back. He catches Macwood in the feed. That must have been incredible, and that's happening right above us. Meanwhile, turning the story around, Vadil is known as one of the greatest box fighters, literally made his name known for taking on fights and destroying players across Europe. Let's take a look at that one more time.
Yep, you see Vadil just kind of peeking through the cone, catching
Whoa.
Macwood off guard. And honestly, it looked like Macwood was going to try to do the same to him, peeking through that cone. You better watch where you peek. Aseti and Cammy, another favorite to probably take the top spot here in this event. 306 above the damage threshold. They're still continuing to put that pressure on the lobby. That's exactly what you got to do when you make it to endgame, especially if you're a team that doesn't fight off spawn.
Becoming Legends, Cammy and Seti have 2 launch pads. They have material. They have heals. This just might be their game. But let's jump on over to Seat. KBR. How's it going here? 132. They have Z Andy and Joe have been on the other side of the wall. It's going to be a tough one. 23 duos remaining here. The surge is still active. And now as the timer hits 0 and the zone reveals itself, we're gonna start entering into the first moving zone territory. These next 25 seconds are gonna be some of the toughest they have ever had to deal with. Remember, for some on this stage, this is their first LAN, an in-person event that they have ever experienced here, and they get to play it out now.
And this is where you talked about some of the players that had rotation. It is going to be so important. You see where the zone pulls. There's different elevations that these players are going to have to traverse through. If you don't have any sort of rotation, you're going to have to figure out how to recycle it. Otherwise, you're going to be living a nightmare.
Fadil, he has a launch pad. He's going to play for it. High ground. The first ones to go is Vino and Queasy. This is where you expect them to be. They're up top where they are so comfortable. Now, can they hold it
points?
all the way?
Damn.
The launch pad comes down. They don't want to stay there and commit the map. They're going to go ahead and switch it up. Merstash on the low ground down to 40 HP, but he still has some movement to work with.
You can see him, he's just peeking through the cone, gathering that information. He has a launch pad as well. He can easily try to find his way through, but there's so many players stacked all around him. They don't want to make it easy, but 28 above the damage threshold. He's not only looking for the perfect rotation, he's looking for some players to put some shots on, but a high ground goes over to Peppo.
Whoa, Asia on height now too. This is big. That's something you did not expect, but Vino
Oh my God, they're trying to get hit.
Decide to go for it. They land on top of Asia, and it's all or nothing now. Vino fights for it. The wall gets edited. It's not quite his. It's a battle on all fronts here. Can they win it off? And he does just enough. Vino and Queasy have managed to fight back for high ground in the first game of the FNCS Invitation.
Yep, and there goes a saw to the feed. Vadil and Janice, their run came to an end. Vico picking up a Nas and Murstache. Two different players. Alice is trying to break through. 118 below the damage threshold. He knows he cannot stay in one place too long. Trying to reunite with Threats, but he goes down as well.
No.
Storm Surge really
dead.
eating these guys alive. Alice has to do something, but the options are so thin. He doesn't know what to do. Finally finding one player. Puts the shot
get it.
Still going wild. But that Siphon coming through just in the nick of time to keep him alive.
He is alive. He takes down the run.
I'll take the miss.
Look at this. A huge pickup now.
Oh my God, that's
That could be
crazy.
the absolute difference. Meanwhile, Seti and Cammy playing their game. Pamstu and Fash still alive as well. High ground has Queasy and Vino. Logren has Chicho and Trulix playing and leading the front side of zone. There's not a player in sight. Clicks is still alive now. Working his way through. He has lost his teammate. The full finish comes through. It might be all or nothing now. He still has so much left in the tank.
Yeah, but I'm not too worried about him because of him and Duke's high placement last FNCS was because of solo clutches from that man himself. But talk about solos. Joe gets one as Andy goes down. Shots coming in from the high ground. Pressure is there, but Joe's trying to find his way to the front side of zone, but it's a hard journey trying to find it. 12 HP, continuing to drop. Shots still coming in. He's going to find a moment of an oasis to try to stabilize and figure out what's the next play.
Cammy and Seti find their way to the high ground. Down goes Clicks.
Oh,
to
Clicks
the hands
is down.
Of Cammy. That's a huge one. Hello, Vino. You have to turn and run. Cammy wants to hear nothing about that noise right there. Meanwhile, Seti's keeping eyes on the general area. Very solid. Chicho fighting his way, but no.
Massive
damage.
damage.
It's Zagu and Mareem, who's right above them there. Our FNCS champions of Asia are still here. Down goes Pamstu as well. What a huge elimination here.
The top 7 duos alive. 11 players total left in this game. One of them being Seti and Cammy towards the high ground. The analyst desk called it. These guys don't play too many early game fights. They wait for this end game.
Oh, Acorn stuck in Storm.
Acorn, he's trying to sneak some extra points. He has the med miss sitting in the zone. Vino doing the same, but he's almost all out of opportunity.
This is absolutely what you expect of the best players in the world coming together for this invitational here to have this opportunity to step up to the plate, represent for your region. This is what it's all about. Vino by himself just working his way, ratting his way through the build. Acorn is as well. There's a set of major points separating them. Vino looks to high ground. He says, I'm not going to allow you to just sit there and focus me. Trulex is meanwhile in the low, looking for something to do here, turning builds into Chrome.
Oh, that's some smart play. That's a smart play.
He's just trying to
reinforce
a little bit of the builds that are around him so nobody can quickly edit through and try to pick that shot from Miram and Zagu. They don't have that high
40 points?
player trying to find that
Bro, that's insane.
Only 2 HP, med miss left. He's gonna have to try to find Siphon here, but
now
no,
he's dead.
Gets dropped.
GG's
Acorn
right there.
finds another one from the outside of zone.
7 elims for Mareem and Zagu, representing for Asia here, looking great. Meanwhile, Yumi and Cool are getting one step closer now to taking this fight. A huge shout out to Mareem. He's gonna feel that one as he plays defensively, but Zagu is here to back him up. They're going hand in hand. The fight breaks out.
Dead.
Oh my gosh!
Steps up to the plate. We are now down to 3 duos in the end game, 2 solos and a duo up top.
Carrying that momentum from last season's FNCS, but he has so much more work to do. Seti and Cammy, the only duo left in the game, is Acorn staying alive still. 4
Acorn is still alive? What?
Trying to find his way through, but like I said, there's only 1 duo team.
Oh my God, he's far in there.
You cannot write a better story for becoming legends. Seti is fighting back. Cammy is fighting back. They're looking to get inside. There goes the elim they were looking
Where's Acorn?
for. Just one player separates them. But Acorn.
Acorn's down.
And Seti and Cammy take game number 1.
Poland is the first country to take on home a victory royale on the FNCS Invitational
What
stage.
a first game.
These guys have came to play through and through.
What a fairy tale beginning for these absolute veterans, GOATs, some of the hardest workers we have ever seen enter into the ecosystem, becoming legends. Seti and Cammy must be absolutely proud. Acorn and Edgy, they were just incredible. Wait for Acorn to truly step up to the table there and clutch this one
Acorn
out.
was
And he
close
said
to
it,
winning
with me
too.
in the best lobbies, I
Acorn
will
was
put
so
up the
close.
numbers.
Yeah, and for him, that's a little bit of a success, even though he didn't get the victory royale. Staying alive as long as he
let me
did,
use the
getting
washroom.
extra eliminations, and getting that top placement, that is just insane. But let's go ahead and throw it over to an interview with the winners.
Okay, you guys? Yeah. I am with our Game 1 winners. Give it up for Cammy and Seti! I must ask, what, Dzień dobry, first and foremost. Dzień dobry. Obviously, Game 1 winners, how was that being out there and winning in front of this amazing crowd?
It's amazing. I love the atmosphere here. It's really nice having a crowd again.
Excellent. And also, obviously, high ground reigns supreme. Once you had the high ground there, able to maintain, do you think that was the difference maker? You felt comfortable being above the rest of the teams?
Like, we knew that high team doesn't have much, so we just took it.
You took it. Going into the next game, much of the same? Do you have to constantly change strategy, or did it feel good playing against the rest of the world?
It feels good. It feels pretty easy. I'm not like denying the competition, but it feels really nice playing here. And yeah, we're just going confident into game 2. Still have to be consistent to the end of the tournament, then that's it.
Excellent stuff. Once more time, guys, give it up. Your Game 1 winners, Cammy and Seti! Good stuff. Let's head back over to our man, Zeke, on the desk.
Thank you guys so much. Game number 1 is taken by EU. This is going to be a tough one for everybody else. EU, let's represent, baby! Cammy and Seti, though, come out huge in game number 1. What's crazy, too, for a moment there, we watched Queasy and Vino go for height in 6th moving, right? But it's not them who end in height. It's Cammy and Seti.
It's crazy, big developments there. I can't believe Cammy and Seti are the ones that actually end up on the high ground. I love the fact that you mentioned that there were a little bit of flip-flopping going on the high
What
ground.
did I miss?
Somehow Cammy and Seti, probably the least likely to, in my opinion, to find themselves up there, do so well played coming from them. And also, not to mention, this end clip right here doesn't even tell the full story. Seti goes down in that mid game, and Cammy clutches up 1v2, which is why he has so many eliminations coming into this. And then to close it out here, just 2 separate solos, and they make easy work of them.
It was right around the start of Zone 8 that we saw Cammy just sweep Queasy completely off guard there on the flank. Didn't seem as though Queasy was fully aware of the fact, because there were so many teams trying to challenge that high ground at once, but it was Cammy and Seti who actually successfully walked away with it, and they just had so many builds. That vertical play throughout the entirety of 8th and 9th zone, there was just nothing anyone else could do about it.
And the thing that I love, right, is we came into this game and we were like, who's going to be nervous, who's going to be confident? I have never been able to tell that somebody is confident. After winning game number 1 of an Invitational, it seemed like there was like no expression coming out of Cammy and Seti. There was like, yeah, that's expected.
That's what they're used to, right? That's how they won the most recent DreamHack. This is almost like, it's like their life is on repeat, but this time instead of DreamHack, it's FNCS Invitational, right? I'm curious to get your guys' thoughts. We saw a lot of like self-regional eliminations, right? EU eliminating EU, NA eliminating NA. It was kind of crazy. I'm surprised there wasn't more, I guess,
44 points?
Big battles going on here, and it's really close towards the top of this leaderboard. Of course, Cammy and Seti finding themselves at the top. They're getting that victory royale, securing 44 points. The early lead after game number 1, but NA West also representing here, going down in that third place position, getting 42 points on the back of so many eliminations.
But it was actually the 4th place position. Noah Riley, Bat Sniper, they're walking away with 8 elims. That is a good chunk of points that they were able to compensate for despite not being able to close things out. And I think ultimately we saw in the first 3 zones a little bit more EU heavy as far as the elim fee was concerned. But by the time we hit that mid game, it seemed as though all of NA and some of the international regions just really started to hit their stride, because everything just started lighting up immediately.
A lot of these players, right, they're using this initial game as a kind of a feeler, right? Let's just kind of see how this all works and everyone the land looks like, and then we'll look to go ahead and fight back. But real quick, we have a mini miner standing by. What you got for us?
Thank you so much, Zeke. Now, we want to be taking a deep dive into one of our duos that have been deep diving into the dead side of Zone. As we reveal this massive screen right behind me, we're going to be talking, of course, about Commandment and Avery, our reigning NA East FNCS champions. We can see them on the screen right there, the little white arrows, and they've made a really, really interesting rotate this game. We can see the path that they are going to take using all the way on that dead side of Zone. Now, you might be wondering, what is the benefits of dead side? Now, you can see on the map, loads of those little arrows are on this side of Zone, right? And this is the area that most teams are going to be at, because most of the POIs are going to be rotating into there. We can see Commandment and Avery using the sort of the mid-map rotation, right? You can see the in-game rotation devices, you can see the launch pads being used, you can see the balloons, and of course, you can see the slipstreams as well, and you can see them getting to this less congested side of Zone. Nobody's there, what's going on? They have a free rotation, but of course, this comes with some problems, right? We saw them struggling with Surge in that previous game. It didn't quite work out the way that they were expecting. They weren't able to find as many players as they could, so the benefits for them are, of course, they're on the less congested side of Zone. They don't see anyone, but that also has implications. You don't get the damage done, and you can see that in the last game. They were struggling for tags. Of course, we saw King and Ed doing the exact same thing, but they were able to find as many eliminations and as many tags as they possibly could, which kept them afloat. Unfortunately for Commandment and Avery, though, it didn't quite work out. I've got so many questions to ask, and who better to ask them themselves? Kelly, over to you.
Thank you so much, Mini Mine. Joining me right now, I have Commandment and Avery. And Avery, I got to ask you, man, how do you feel about game number 1?
Surge was pretty rough. We had to run through Haller's shield pretty early, so we died on half zone. But we still managed to get 8 points for first game, just testing the grounds.
Well, good luck in that next game, guys. I'm sure you're going to be doing a lot better. I'm going to be joining over here Acorn and Edgy, guys. That second place finish, what was going through your mind once you had that solo run?
I mean, honestly, it was all Acorn. Like, I didn't even do anything, to be honest. He's just the best player in the world.
Yeah, man, what was going through your mind?
I knew I had chromes, and I was like, I'm 100% going to get top 2 here. No, I was confident, and it went my way.
I love it. Congratulations, guys. You have a great start to the competition. Let's head on back to the desk.
Thank you so much, Kelly, and of course, Mini Miner, and shout outs to the players. That was just game number 1. Now, this looks a little deceiving, right? For a moment, we celebrate Cammy and Setting. We think, okay, they got the victory royale, big deal. Yeah. However, Acorn there, it's okay. They didn't get the victory royale, but that's not what they needed, right? They just needed to place high.
Yeah, of course. You know, Acorn, you can hear it out of Edgy right there. Best player in the world. Love that confidence coming out of the teammate. But again, you know, one of those solo clutches that we kind of saw was from Cool and Yuman. I think it was Cool specifically getting into that endgame, securing that third place position. And we could saw at one point in time, he was like in that 1v2 situation in that box fight, and he comes out on top and just transitions that all the way towards that third place position.
You don't become FNCS champions without having this kind of a collective measure when it comes to your mental discipline inside the chat fight. And not to mention the fact that they also had 7 elims to boot to close this one out. So not only are they placing high, but they're also making sure to capitalize on those elims as well. And it is everything when you're able to try and establish these early leads, because this is a very competitive lobby. And I think, if anything, game 1 is only amped me up even more to see what these players are going to do.
Yeah, the individual performances coming out, and that's what matters so much on these stages. You know, we saw last season on the NA East region, Commandment is the one that won it with his solo clutch. So every single solo performance matters tenfold.
That's right. I want to take a look at our standings once again. And again, don't freak out. This is just game number 1. This is our feeler game, right? From here, we make adjustments and we make the changes we need to succeed. Cammy and Seti, they did win game number 1. But with only 6 eliminations, they're currently sitting at the 44 points. As we kind of start to go top to bottom, you know, we did watch Queasy and Vino. They did try and take height. But I'm curious as to like what you feel kind of happened. How did that all unfold? The height take looked good, but something went wrong.
So we knew this was coming, right? We knew Queasy and Vino were going for the high ground, and they had it going into that first moving zone. And then all of a sudden we were checking it out. You know, Runa and Pepper are all of a sudden on the higher ground, and Queasy and Vino are like, all right, fine, we'll give it up. And then like 5 seconds later, I look back up, and Queasy and Vino are back on height. So, you know, they had the strategies there. Ultimately, Cammy and Seti just found the best of them, though.
That's right. Really quickly, let's go over to our friends Kelly and Adam, who are standing by on the stage.
Thank you very much, Zeke. Guys, are we having a good time? All right, we're looking good. Game 1 is done, and game 2 is imminent.
However, we need your help, everyone, because our battle bus is out of gas and we power it with hype. So in the count of 3, I'm going to need you to get as loud as you can possibly get.
All right.
1, 2, 3.
Let us in! Come on! Fantastic. You look beautiful out there. It's time for game number 2.
Here we go.
Now that's how you kick off a battle bus, Jacob. Whoa, the crowd is really coming together for that one.
Yep, and Acorn clutching it up by himself as a solo. Cool, and Yumi from NA West. But you got to give it up to EU, Cammy, and Seti taking that top spot, and they're really putting the lobby on notice. Hey, we came to play. We came to take over.
So much representation from all of the players showing up in that last game there. NA West, NA East, Asia, EU, of course. You saw what they were able to do there. And again, that is what makes this all worth it. That is why we tune in for these moments.
Yeah, but that was just game number 1. Sure. I'm pretty sure with game number 2 right around the corner, the nerves are beginning to settle. The players have figured out how the lobby is going to be. And one of the things I've noticed after that first game, everybody is stingy with Storm Surge damage.
That's right, but listen, the show must go on. Let's just go ahead and keep things rolling. Thank you guys so much. We're trying to get our players back on that battle bus so we can start game number 2. Now that we have a moment here to just breathe, the biggest thing I think on a lot of these players' mind, as you even saw some of them talk about in their interviews, Storm Surge. This is something that a lot of these players, they try to overcome, and now they have to double adapt. Not just adapt to their own meta and the way they're used to playing Storm Surge, but how other duos ahead of them, next to them, behind them, may be doing the same thing.
Every single time in Fortnite that we have like a set lobby over the course of X amount of games, game 1 is always the most stacked. And we saw it right there. It was like the flip of a coin. All of a sudden, the lobby, the amount of players left alive just crashed instantly because so many of them needed to fight for it. But one thing that I did see in that early game right there, a lot of balloons were being used. A lot of the players poisoning themselves all the way up there in the sky, then using those hammer assault rifles primarily to get tags in the early game. And then anybody that wasn't really doing that, unfortunately, just had to force a fight later on in the game. Like, for example, we saw Epic Whale and Reek go down because of one of those fights.
Look, it might have been Cammy and Seti that actually closed out the lobby, but it was Muzz and Looter who got the action going for us because we did see a decent amount of hesitation. It's kind of expected, I think. Game number 1 here at the FNCS Invitational. Nobody wants to be the first one out, but unfortunately for Smite and Larson, that was the case because Looter and Muzz actually winning out the immediate trade. And this is one of the POIs that we touched on at the start because we knew that Grim Gables is going to be popping. We knew that Muzz and Looter have the experience to tango with the other regions.
You want to know something? This is what I love because, you know, we're talking about how some of these all-spawn situations are going to go down. And, you know, I was talking with some of the other analysts, and Taco included, and Muzz and Looter was like, you know what, I think this might actually, you know, play into their favor being contested all spawn because, you know, Looter himself said NA East has been way harder than OC. He thinks there's a lot more talent over here. And then Storm Surge was one of the things that he was most worried about. So the fact that they ended up being contested, and that game is a great example. They get that early damage done, those early eliminations, and they're set for the rest of the game. They don't even have to worry about their biggest worry coming into the Invitational.
Another duo that had a tough time getting going, Mr. Savage. They took a fight that maybe didn't quite go the way it was anticipating. Let's take a look at some of the replays and kind of talk about what we're seeing.
That one was definitely a bit of a heartbreaking moment because when a duo that hasn't even naturally been practicing this off-spawn situation up until recently challenges you and beats you. iDrop said it himself in the pregame interview. I've been dropping here uncontested for the past year. It's not going to change the outcome, and yet we're witnessing the downfall of iDrop and Mr. Savage.
Yeah, and honestly, shout out to On1 right there because, you know, the discipline, right? Sometimes when you go to clear buildings, you're kind of just running down the staircase or running through corridors, and you're just like, I'll be fine. I don't hear him. I haven't seen him here. But no, he actually.
All right, chat. I'm gonna be going for a 20-minute walk. I'm gonna keep the stream going, and hopefully I don't miss much.
Control over any of those builds. So really well played from On1 for sure.
And something that's also worth considering, I think, for Mr. Savage and iDrop now is you have to remember when you have so much information out there on how you like to drop, loot, and land this spot, like what we've witnessed from this duo, I think that that is pertinent information because I would be very surprised if On1 and Vodka haven't been utilizing a lot of VOD review to their favor leading into this.
Yeah, I mean, iDrop himself said he's been laying here for 12 months, so there is a lot out there on it.
Yeah.
Now the question is, do we get the repeat of this again? Will we watch this happen again? Do we think they're going to change something up? Do they feel now like they have no choice? They have to try to take this fight.
You know, I think that, you know, the players, especially up there, they are pretty set on going for the fight. So I think we're just going to see a fight happen again. But, you know, game one jitters are kind of out of the way. If you get eliminated early in a game, you kind of can just sit there, right? You can mentally reset. You know, obviously some of it's going to start to wear down on your mental a little bit, but you know, you can full reset, maybe come up with a new strategy with your duo, kind of talk to them in that meantime. You pretty much had that whole game to talk strategy and kind of, you know, mention what went wrong, you think.
Exactly. It's not the end of the world by any means because we are literally only one game through. We still have 5 left to go. There is ample opportunity here, not just for the players to have a chance to, I think, boost their placement points on the leaderboard, but also it's just the simple fact that they can make the tiny adjustments that they need to. As far as iDrop and Mr. Savage are concerned, now I think they're a lot more wary of the fact that All1 and Baka, they're definitely willing to take a super early engagement. They don't care about the fact that it's the first 3 zones. Both of these duos, I think, are going to continue trying to look to establish their surge management early on.
And I love the terminology used right there, more aware, right? Because, you know, again, On1 just recently decided to land here like 2 days ago. So it's like, whoa, for Mr. Savage and iDrop. We had no idea. There's no information because this duo hasn't really landed here before. But now, game 1, the information is starting to reveal itself. On1 is obviously, you know, leaking some of those things just naturally as he plays through the games. And we know that Savage and iDrop are very well experienced, so they should be able to turn that into something positive.
Yeah, it's not kind of like the one beats all, right? There is going to be this back and forth that continues to develop. And it's kind of what we talked about like at the beginning of the show, is that adaptability factor. How many duos could just say, okay, this went wrong, let's go ahead and change these things so that doesn't happen again, right? Fortnite is primarily a game of what you would call RNG, right? You landed a POI, what's there? Where are the chests? Where's the guns? Where's the builds? And for these duos, they're trying to limit as much of that as possible, right? They want to find that spot. Hey, I know there's a gun here every time. I know if I hit this building as I open this door, pick up this thing, I'll have 10 builds. That's a wall I can use to defend myself if I'm jumped, right? So I'm excited to see how in game 2, a lot of these duos look to say, what do we got to do differently?
Well, for Beppo and Runa, I was actually very happy to see that they were the ones that initially started off at that Lustrous Lagoon. And again, that was an uncontested draw spot for them. You're talking about loot, you're talking about resources, Zeke, and there is ample of it at Lustrous Lagoon. A lot of these players have even been talking about the fact that it's kind of crazy that they have gone this entire time leading up to the event without anyone wanting to establish an immediate contest at that POI. So I like the fact that they were able to hang in that top 10 leaderboard as well, really representing their region, I think, excellently there, because the fact is there was a lot of traffic coming their way due to the way that the zones ended up pulling towards that north side. So the fact that they were able to not only stay in that surge management position despite being uncontested, but they also just made do with what they were given there.
Yeah, absolutely. It's really cool to see that they actually also took the high ground from none other than Queasy and Vito in that endgame. Ultimately, yeah, they did end up losing it, but I want to see more of that, right? Just because you lost at just this one game, you may have a very good strategy that takes out, you know, something that Queasy and Vino aren't used to, and that's kind of that multi-regional invitational that is just so good, and all the strategies start to come out and catch players by surprise.
You'll love to see it. This is just kind of our insights here from the desk, but we also have Mini Miner standing by to get his thoughts on that game.
Absolutely, Zeke. It's not just me, it's Takata alongside me as well. Now, we've been watching all of this action unfold behind the scenes. We've been able to see some extra POVs, Takata. It's been intense, right? We've seen some crazy plays.
Look, players from all around the world, it's what I love to see these players shine, right? Zagu and Mirim, they were fragging out, Mini. They got, what, almost 8 eliminations in that match? Even players from the West Coast, Cool and Yumi, they were also popping off in that late game. And what's going on with Seti and Cammy? Up in the clouds, right? We never seen them up there, right? Playing up top, it's something that you love to see in game 1 of an international event like this.
And this is what the invitation is all about, right? We have so many different players from so many different regions bring different strategies, but it can all change. As we talked about earlier, things can change so quickly. Cammy and Seti on the high ground, what's going on? This is crazy, but of course, Cool and Yumi as well, you mentioned it, right? I had a few questions to ask about their surge. I actually spoke to them in person in the player area, and they said, we have all the answers, Mini Miner, don't worry, don't be concerned. And I was like, mate, you carry on. You do it, mate, if that's what they're gonna do, and they're pulling out all the stops today.
I mean, they proved it, right? The way they played that late game, they were ready to dominate. But I mean, Seti Cammy up top, I think that was more of like a situational thing, right? We had Queasy Vino earlier up top on the high ground, but then Seti and Cammy saw the opportunity and they striked, right? I don't think it's going to be an every game type scenario for this deal. We know they like the consistency, so I wouldn't, you know, be surprised if they switch it up a bit, but I'm excited to see what they continue to do.
I am very excited as well. I'm sure as are the devs. Let's throw it back to them to see what they think.
You know, you got a good laugh out of our boy Vivid here. I'm down. I'm not opposed. Yeah, you chuckled. That was pretty good. Another duo I did want to take a moment to highlight on screen right now, Zagu and Miram, coming out of Japan. These guys were just looking so good. 7 eliminations there in that game with a 41 total point. Now, this is just out of game 1. And I mean, consider, we kind of talked about it. They're contesting Commandment and Avery over at Rave Cave, and they were allowed to leave Rave Cave.
Yeah, 100%. You know, I think that that's pretty much what we can expect, but something that I did not expect, and my eyebrows, they went up, right? I raised them. That stat sheet right there. They did 2,200 plus damage this game. That is incredible. You can see it right here. A lot of it coming from this end game, actually picking up a plethora of eliminations. Their box fighting skills seem to be catching a lot of these players off guard in the game. Woo, look at that.
Absolutely crispy and cooking inside of these boxes. It's looking like a full-on barbecue right now with Zagu and Marim, the way that they were just lighting it up inside of that low ground congestion. Not only that, but I just love seeing how poised they are after that finish. They have not lost sight by any means. They know exactly what's on the line here as far as regional representation is concerned, and you absolutely love to just see that energy kind of be reflected in their gameplay.
Yeah, and I love the fact that you mentioned energy. I've been seeing them walk around the player lounge, everything like that. You know, the walkouts, they always seem so happy, right? They're so happy to be here, and they seem confident as well. There's never really like a, you know, oh, we're worried to be here. No, they're just fully embracing it, and we can see it right there in game number 1. They came on top pretty much.
When you have performances like that, I can imagine why they're so confident. Because again, I think a lot of duos may not have necessarily been anticipating some of this aggression that we are witnessing right now in game 1 from the other international regions. But at the very least, I do expect a little bit of a bite back from NA East, West, and EU.
I think for me, I'm looking forward to seeing how many more duels try to go for height, right? For in this instance, Zagu and Rim, they were just in that mid ground. They didn't even care about high ground. They're like, exactly. No, you guys battled out. We want more eliminations. We'll stay right here. Do you guys think that maybe more duels will look to just say like, look, our kind of strategy to win is that high ground. We got to go for it.
Yeah, I mean, 100%. We saw a lot of teams that actually like to play the high ground, unfortunately not making it into that game. They went down a little bit early, like, for example, Aqua and Reason, Jason and Chabix also went down. Another one, Alex and Bailey, we talked about them from OCE. They love to play the high ground, and they just, all 3 of them went down a little bit early, so it could change big time. You know, we also saw Kanata went down a little bit early. Macwood loves to play the high ground coming out of NA East. Pretty much the only thing that he shies for, but being left as a solo, he couldn't really do that this game.
But just look at some of these names that are located on the second page already for the leaderboard. You got Thomas HD at Trippard, Pink and Anas. Again, I think Vico and Marijn have been really exciting to kind of follow along with, especially since they're relatively newly formed here for the FNCS Invitational. I don't think that is an easy feat by any means to have to quickly adapt to your partner.
100%. And listen, I can't believe it, actually, because Clix and Duke were actually popping off towards that end game, right? And you know, the crowd was going crazy. We on the desk were like, wow, they're really showing up right now. And you know, on that leaderboard, it's really showing as well, finding those eliminations on big name teams as well. They're coming into the Invitational with the experience, and it's showing.
How many of these duos are thinking themselves, game 2, I'm ready. I have that strategy locked in. I think I know what I need to do to get going, because I want to make the crowd here in the Raleigh Convention Center just lose their mind when we're taking shots. Because, man, there was some eliminations happening, and I was just on my feet screaming with the crowd.
You know, straight up, ultimately, it's going to be based on an individual level, I think. You know, how good are you, and how good is your mental at taking something that could be negative and turning it into something positive? Because, you know, not everything went right for any duo of that game, so they have to think about those things and like, okay, what can we do? What have we scrimmed before that has kind of helped us throughout these situations? Just make those changes come into game number 2. But there's also duos, plenty of them, especially the top 10 on the leaderboard, who, you know, found things that worked for them. So keep doing those things, but again, not everything went perfect, so keep that in mind.
But nerves aside, as the games go on, it's going to start feeling more and more natural, I think, for a lot of these players. You're going
100%.
To start being able to focus in a lot more on the actual gameplay itself, and I think that's where the audience just becomes a little bit of background noise until it comes down to those final moments. But something that I'm really curious to see is whether or not these players are actually going to showcase some of their flexibility or adaptability, because Merstash Malabuka. I think they're a great example of a duo where they can go a game or 2 or 3 without really being able to catch anything, and then they just turn up.
That's right. We've heard from us. We've heard from Mini Miner and Tokata. Let's throw it on over to casters to hear their thoughts on game number 1. Thank you so much for that quick, of course, toss there so we can start getting into our perspective here. I mean, Jacob, let's talk about what we know just coming out of game 1.
Yeah, I mean, what we know, NA West, Cool and Yumi showing up big. Not only getting that 3rd place finish, but you saw that 2v1 off the back of Cool. Another thing, Acorn, NA in general is just kind of showing up. Obviously, EU won the game, but I think we need to start giving NA more credit.
Yeah, definitely have to give them that credit. They show up and then wait for them to win those early engagements. Yep. I mean, listen, we got to sit in the player lounge, quite literally stand over the shoulders of Onwon and Baka while they were practicing. They took on the likes. You know who they're training against?
Who are they training?
Reeds and Epic Whale. That's their training partners. And I don't know about you, but if you were following Twitter, I posted a little clip of Reed taking on Merstash and Malabuka. So it kind of all ties together if Merstash and Malabuka are known as some of the greats. And then Onwon and Baka could hold their toe-to-toe with someone like Reed. I mean, it all just starts to make sense.
You know what I'm loving out of all that, though? You talked about the 2 partners, right? Onwon and Baka, and who they're sparring against, Reed and Epic Whale. That's NA West. That's NA West showing each other some love. I talked about a lot of these guys being friends, but when they're on the battlefield, they're enemies. That is just inner region training, and that's something I love to see.
That's right, and of course, the upsets, right? We saw a couple edge battles there. Bugha and Miro taken out so early. This is one of the things we didn't really get to talk about. You would think that a team like Bugha and Miro, who have drilled and trained their draw spot so perfectly, they almost have it conditioned, this should be another walk in the park situation for them. What do you think went wrong as they were rotating out? Because it seems like they face planted into Macwood and Kanata. That was the big resistance, and they were just taken out.
You know, without seeing too much of their POV, I can only go off a few educated guesses here, and just judging by 95 players being alive when Storm Surge hit, I think they were one of the few teams that were having problems dealing with that. And that's one of the things that I said in an interview before this event, that Storm Surge is going to be hard for these players to deal with, because the players that are above Storm Surge, they can hide in a box, they can focus on those rotations, but the ones that are below, they have to fight outside of Storm. They have to fight the first person they see in that first moment, because you can't continually falling down on that damage.
That's right. Well, listen, that's our perspectives here. We have so much more in store. Thank you guys so much for those insights. We actually have a really cool moment here. The casters kind of talked about that. Bugha and Miro going down earlier. We had a listen-in moment. Let's take a look.
We need to find extra heals somehow. You should pop cabbage maybe for whites. I need to heal. Unless you throw me a mini now.
Yeah, come. Out there, like right there.
Surge, yeah. I want that big ammo crate, but I know they're just gonna get above us.
I mean, I think you can go for it. There's a chest there as well. It's definitely worth it with our loot. It's just glid off the thing.
Minis, yeah.
If we get surge here, we can get enough.
I mean, make sure this isn't baited, bro. It's not. Here, we can get stacked, bro. I'm chilling. If we get surge, we sit in zone, bro. We should look.
Yeah, like where though? We'd have to follow right side.
Yeah,
like,
we have to go right side. I'm just gonna go up. Nah, we should blend.
Alright.
You can already tell. Even Bugha and Miro are like, hey, we need Storm Surge. We need to make sure this is right. It is absolutely affecting many of these players. We will come back and talk about more of this in just a moment. First, I do want to throw it on over to the player area for a little special interview.
We have a very special interview, Zeke. I'm here with one of our alternate players, Frey. Now, Frey, you've been watching in the crowd, right? What's the energy like? How does it feel?
The crowd is amazing. I'm so happy that we have Leanza back. The crowd couldn't be crazier. It's so awesome to be here.
Yeah, we can hear them just there in the background as well. They're getting kind of crazy, right? So, of course, you're a professional player yourself. How would you prepare for an event like this? How do you think the players and what's been sort of going through their minds?
So I think bot viewing is extremely important. You need to know who's landing around you, what they do, what their tendencies are. And yeah, just bot view, fix your mistakes coming up to the event, and then just play your game.
Of course, you can give a big insight into the game as well. For a lot of these players, you can sort of, give your insight, maybe to talk to them as well. But we'll stop it right there. We'll throw it back to the desk for some more.
Thank you guys so much. Raleigh Convention Center, you guys ready? because game number 2 is about to make its way here, so let's make some noise. It's game time. This is the FNCS Invitational 2022 coming at you guys live. Are you two ready?
Yes.
Yes. Beyond ready, beyond excited. I think that more than anything else, this game number 2 could really be a little bit of a breakaway moment here for some of these duos. Cammy and Shetty in particular, they are definitely looking for another highlight reel instance. And whether it comes from Victory Royale or just from being able to rack up those elims, I think that the Polish powerhouse is certainly still making it known that they are some of the best.
Champions are on the stage, right?
I was gonna
Game
say.
number 2 is, this is where you gotta start picking it up. You gotta start developing your strategies around the meta of the lobby. And, who better to do it than the 100 of the best players from around all of the world.
Look at them zeroing in right now, Vivid. They are so amped. They are focused. The tension is real.
The tension is beyond real, and not only that, but I kind of want to touch on Buga and Miro. We saw that little listen-in instance between the two of them, and were it any other duo, I think there might be some room for concern, but Buga and Miro, I think, are an exclusive case, because Miro specifically, this guy is a 5-time FNCS champion, and yet, out of all the FNCS finals that he has competed in, he has only ever collected 3 Victory Royales.
Wow.
So it is a primary example of the fact that high ground can win games, but low ground could possibly win championships. And that moment in game number 1, while it wasn't able to go in their favor because they were struggling with surge management along with some of the other duos, again, they're able to make it happen.
All right, we've broken it all down. We had game 1 wrapped up, it's gone. Game 2 is here, it's now, the battle bus is ready, the players are on board. Let's just get this started. Here we have it. Thank you so much, Zeke. We get to start gearing up for this battle bus to take off now.
Yeah, this is finally setting in for a lot of these players on the stage. Game number 2 is starting right now, and hopefully all those nerves from the end of game number 1 have settled, because now when push comes to shove, some of these players that might be at the bottom of the leaderboard, Mr. Savage, iDrop, that went down early, they might have to start dealing with that storm surge early.
And that's right, we saw what happened in game 1. The real question is, how are you going to adjust coming into game 2? This battle bus is telling me that the Chrome Jam Junction is under fire very quickly. It's so close to the drop spawn, you can see already things kick off. This time, iDrop says, you know what? Let's put that weight, in my experience, on my back. Savage takes down Baka, and all of a sudden, it's a different tale to be told.
Happy birthday, Mr. Savage. First elimination here in game number 2, and that puts On1 on notice. You gotta have to watch out, because we're here to fight. That first one might have been a little lucky, but another one, this one, I feel like has to have a little bit more damage, because all 3 of these players, Monster, they were dealing with Storm Surge, and they were just on the cusp, some were even below.
This is not the only contested draw spot. Don't forget, Tilted Towers has so much going down there as well. So between Cloudy Condos and Tilted Towers, these are the 2 most contested
I'm back, guys.
draw spots. And what I saw there is
What game is this? Game number 2, and I was gone for like
there are big fights
20
unfolding
minutes?
already,
Like, what?
just giving us a little sample of how these drops are playing out.
Yeah, you can kind of see everybody just on their drop spot, the ones that don't necessarily have the POI. It's about looting up, getting as much resources as possible, trying to get as many metal and brick as you can in terms. That way, when you make it towards the end game, that way you don't have to worry about it. But for these teams that are also on the outskirts and talk about looting up, you have to start thinking about Storm Surge. Your pathing is going to be so important, because we saw how many teams went down to the Surge itself.
Here is Poland's finest game 1 winners from Becoming Legends, Setis and Cammy. This team here has placed top 10 in every finals they have ever competed with together. But wait a second, hold that thought. And Ascent Pink here on the other side of the Joneses. This is a fight that's being extended out. The last time we were here, Clix found an elimination with Duke. They actually held it off. Remember when we talked to Reet and Epic Whale, they said, hey, you know what? I believe in the fighting power of NA on this one. They have full confidence that they can do it. Pink and Anas have to jump back.
Yeah, and you got to think back to that NA East Finals where Clix solo points after solo points, but as long as these two guys stay alive, they're going to be contenders for every single tournament they play in. Duke has FNCS champion in trios. Clix is one of the best individual players on the planet.
We have a huge opportunity here for Duke and Clix to continue to put up big numbers. We know they had an excellent kickoff to things here as they continue to find their strides, but things are going to slow down, and you know, you really genuinely expect this to happen, especially at a Fort Jonesy's. This is not a POI big enough for two.
Yep, you see Clix just trying to gather the information. The longer this fight goes and the higher they build, if it comes to it, you got Jason Basil over on the side. Those are the third parties that we saw towards the early of last game. This is Nas Pink trying to get deep into the box. That Evo Chrome Burst AR, we saw how much damage it does to these builds, and it eats through in a second.
More importantly, if you can find tags, just big. Like that, Pink and Anas already turning this story on its head here. That's bait there. He sees the shotgun. That moment, Duke does not let it drop. Now, mind you, Clix has some of the greatest track record in history of taking on head-to-head battles like this. This is why he is so recognized as one of the greats of the space in these kind of moments.
This is where these guys, 66% of their overall victory royales do come from the low ground. The Pink and Anas, they're just trying to keep a little bit of elevation. They're not ultimate high ground, 3-4 boxes big. They're just trying to keep that advantageous position as long as they can. But this monster, this one's dragging out a little too long. Do you think there's going to come a point in time where they just kind of abandon and try to get to the zone?
Well, I hope it continues because the rest of the lobby is just taking their time. 49 duos are still alive here, and this is one of the only ones deciding to go toe-to-toe. Clix, once again, gets tagged there. And again, let's talk about the bad blood developing between these two. Pink and Clix were once upon a time almost duos, as Pink was so close to traveling to United States to play alongside him, but now they find each other on the other sides of the monitor here, going head to head. And I mean, looking at the HP so far, it's looking very good for Guilds, NS, and Tundra's Pink.
Yeah, and honestly, let's talk about this prolonged fight and what happens if they do actually split right now. They're not going to have a lot of time to go ahead and mat up, but a big shot coming out from Clix. We know what happens when this man has his back against the wall. His bite is much louder than his bark.
This is where Duke does tend to shine right now. These real scrappy types of engagements. This man does not tend to miss a shot. As now they're looking. They know the enemies felt that on the other side of the wall, but hey, the longer they stay here, the less the less odds they have to actually survive. The longer story is, of course, making it to endgame. Let's jump on over, though, to our favorites of Miro and Booga here. Head-to-head with Z Andy, Joe FN, Bevy in the distance as well. There's so much going on here.
Yeah, for them, we saw that replay of last game during the listen-in. They were just dealing with Storm Surge in not the best way. Even though they were about 50 above, that's not the position you want to be in. But you can see Booga and Miro have a 60+ win rate when contested. So they just need to find their rhythm here on this international stage.
Talking about international stage, Alex and Bailey, they have taken this from the player lounge to the main stage. Game 2 now, the fight, the second time. The story won't be the same. It's Yusri who finds the trade there and now has to protect his teammate. A huge shot onto Bailey. It's not looking good for Oceania's champions here, but Bailey waits for the toe-to-toe. He gets the thirst, he needs the points. That's a kind of play you only see in person.
What a free fire.
Bailey says, respect me, Yusri, back up.
He has some heals to use, but does he have the time? Not finding a way to stabilize. Bailey's gonna get in, but only a sliver of HP, and that's why he's picking and choosing his fights right now. He's just trolling for piece control first, trying to heal up, getting as much shield as he can, but you can see he has no HP to regain, so that knock on the Jew is so important.
And he knows he cannot allow him to get the heal off here. You will not save your teammate if it's up to Bailey. Yusri may have the health advantage, but Yusri has his back against the wall right now. The defensive trade, a huge shot, and Bailey gets caught with his pickaxe out. Yusri clutches up, saves his teammate, and they are in game 2.
Sends him back to the lobby, but third place, NA West, Cool Yumi getting busy already. Elimination on the Wax. Now it's up to Rob Bob, trying to stay alive here, trying to get and find a position to where he can hide. You see it in the mini-map. He just got out, and I love that play coming out from some of these players, choosing not to be the hero, because you end up in the hero in the wrong position, you're end up going to be a 0.
Now, Robab doesn't have a lot of experience here. They've only made 2 finals together between Wox and Robot, but there's a huge development happening here. Let's watch this back one more time. Here's how it kicks off. Cool finds the huge tag. All of a sudden, the knock is there. And yes, there was a third party in the side. You get the reaction as well. You can see how fans are cheering in support of one another. But back into the action. Hellfire, Falconer, new duo, you know, pairing up with one another.
They already took down King, so this has got to be Ed coming out from Brazil. EU, NA West trying to take down the region, trying to boast through their points, because right now the only points they have is that elimination onto King. But with Storm now covering and moving over them, Ultimate Teams now in the distance as well, it's going to become more and more dangerous.
Falconer's one of the only competitors, one of the very few left in our scene that has been here since the World Cup. He placed 5th in duos way back when. Wait for him to step up to the challenge and take on this first FNCS Finals ever together alongside Hellfire there from Denmark. But On1 and Baka, did they get the save off?
No, I think On1's there by himself. He's just trying to stay alive, and it does look like Larson and Smite might know he's there. And this is where On1 has to be very, very careful, fighting in the storm with very little HP. Larson knocking on the door, trying to burst his way in. You see the bait and switch come through, trying to make sure that both of these players have enough HP to take a big shot from On1 and continue that bait and switch, but he is on the run.
What a tough story for On1 and Baka. Such a great and strong showing in game 1. He loses his teammate to Mr. Savage out the gate, survives, saves them, but Smite and Larson, who are contested here by Looter and Muzz, are still in the zone, and they meet him, and that's how they get this first elim. So it's only a matter of time now as that clock rages on. Smite steps up, and there it is. The zone does the rest, and they will find their second elim now, wiping up one of the greats from NA West.
They got to go ahead and travel to zone, but back on board, Falconer and Hellfire, but let's just make it Hellfire because Ed was able to take down Falconer in a 1v2 situation. Now he's 1v1 versus EU. Brazil trying to stand up tall. Ed put the pressure onto those covers, but he knows when to pick and choose his fights. He hears the splashes coming out. He knows that's going on to Falconer. The shield keg as well. He's trying to stop as much of the heals from going through, but it does look like Hellfire is going to get 200 yet again.
Listen, Ed recently signed to Team Liquid, showing you guys why exactly he deserves to be here. He has had some of the most impressive rises in recent times on his region, but now he's looking to represent for Brazil and, of course, for Argentina. His teammate King, who is already down. Hellfire manages to lose his teammate. The wall gets taken, and Hellfire has to react quickly, but look at that. He does not miss a beat. Ed finds the siphon, and now it's an even exchange.
Yep. Right now, the 2 launch pads on the Hellfire. He can abandon this fight at a moment's notice. But Ed with no HP, it's all or nothing. This is the moment you've been waiting for.
Here
Shots coming through, and Ed 1v2s NA East.
Brazil and Argentina are probably standing on their feet right now. Ed clutches up a 1v2.
Oh my gosh, and if somehow, some way, he found a way to get King's card, but they're on over to Chonker Speedway. The action will continue. Reason and Aqua going up against Hen and Bevy and Vortexers. They have a lot of practice going against each other on the
If you guys
want
to watch this live,
what's scary about this is the fact
either
that
watch it on
the condo
Twitch,
down to the territory of Booga and Miro
this
at
is.
Chonker Speedway. And
Just
yes,
look up Fortnite on Twitch and you guys can watch it, or you guys can watch it
entire area is such a deadly play zone, and now you
on
have
their
Reason
YouTube channel, which is right here.
With his back against the wall,
FNCS Invitational Day 1.
Absolutely ready to commit.
Because I'm actually gonna shut this off. Literally, my PC has been on almost all day. It's about to turn night here where I am.
What is going to happen
So,
at Cloudy Condos? A triple contested
I'll see you
spot,
guys,
but nobody is
basically,
fighting. That's forcing these players to rotate away to find some extra loot
I'll say
and find
around
the damage.
tonight,
And
just
165
depending if
below
this is still
monster,
going.
I would be
Alright?
lying to you if I said I
I'll see
wasn't
you guys,
nervous.
later on.
Copenhagen Flames, Pablo and Swag
Peace.
on your screen right now, also below. But hey, a good little tag here of Elim for Swag right now, puts him in a nice position. They find a player out in the distance, Snacky and Fast have a window open there, focusing on the duo as well. So they're all looking